to the saints. Today's lecture is about the epidemic in intelligent men being childless. As we go through, we'll share some personal anecdotes, we'll share some scientific facts, and it'll be very fruitful for you as you build your life. I would be thankful if you all would utilize the information below to support the work and also confirm that the audio is coming from this microphone by populating A1 into the chat. This is a very important topic, especially if you live in the hells of North America or anywhere in the West, for they have conditioned your society to be so sick that humankind itself is dying out, not by homicide, but by, I can't even say the word because the Google Corporation sanctions us. We're in a time where truth has been wholly abandoned for fantasy, delusion, and wickedness. You see, procreating and building a family, this is a cornerstone of civilization. And even beyond civilization, if you look at the small picture of us, the individual, this is what benefits you. I can assure you, no matter how much money you have or how much money you don't have, in your old age, you will want to be surrounded by your spouse, if you have one, and at the very least, your children who love and regard you and will take care of you. They'll make sure that you don't lay there like a living corpse with bed sores because you're not being tended to. You're not in a small, dark room, forgotten about, barely eating and lonely. Your family will be around you. When you travel to civilized places in Africa, in the Middle East, and in Asia, you find that the grandparents live with their children, which makes sense because your parents are the ones who raised you. And if they did a good job at some level, you have a debt to them. So the question is, why is it that in the West, in the civilized countries, in the industrialized high-income countries, we have a situation whereby intelligent men are ending up childless, as are intelligent women, in fact, in higher numbers? And we'll break that down. I first want to start more simply with a bit of anecdote and humor, and then we'll move a touch into things that are more complex and a bit of science and data, if you would. So I hope you've understood the necessity of having children. Some of you might think, okay, well, I'm wealthy, so when I'm old, I'll be in a nice retirement home. And yeah, I just can't imagine that strangers who go and show up for a job are going to treat you as well as your children would. I can't imagine that that special feeling of love will be conveyed while you're being cared for by those who share not blood or history with you. So don't think that your money will get the job done. There are values and things that are much greater than money. Love is certainly one of them. Familial love is powerful. The love that comes with the mix of blood and you having been there for someone over time, that is something that can never be replaced or fabricated. That is special and unique. For those of you who are poor, you're in an even worse situation if you don't have children, and you're more likely to have children if you're poor and or unintelligent. Then when you become old, you may or may not have Social Security. It probably would have fallen apart by the time you're old, but even if it hasn't, it's not a sufficient amount of money, and you will surely suffer in your old age and probably wish that you hadn't lived to old age. So let's talk about it. Childless, successful, or more appropriately, I should say intelligent men, because there are some who are successful, but they're not intelligent. And it's very important that those who are intelligent procreate and propagate their DNA. So in my case, I'd like to talk about it a little bit because I'm a big believer in family. And in fact, within the Assassin, that's what we build. Family. We model everything we do after family. When we teach hierarchy and patriarchy, it's modeled on a family basis. The first thing I consider when I ask myself, is this a woman that I would want to procreate with, is trust and predictability. Can I trust her? And if the answer is yes, I can trust her. I can trust her to exhibit these certain behaviors. Then the other question is, predictability. Can I predict what she's likely to do in a situation? Can I predict who she will be 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Can I predict the kind of mother she will be? And based on the data that I gather, or based on what she's conveyed or what I've observed of her lifestyle, friends, familial relationships, I make an assessment and say, yeah, she might work as a mother and wife, or hell nah, this is a L. I'll tell you, unfortunately, most of the time, the answer is hell nah, this is a L. And you have to be even more careful when you're in the hells of North America or the frigid West, because the governments don't favor you. Really, they don't favor anyone, but it can certainly be said that they favor the female. So it's crazy because I actually literally just turned off my notifications and I'm still getting notifications. I tell you, this technology is hell on earth. We think that it's beneficial, but it's really detrimental. And if you look at I apologize. I've been having a lot of, not me, but those around me have been having a lot of challenges recently. I've been having to get people out of very tight situations, shall I say. For those of you who follow me, or excuse me, who are members, which is the only people who matter, on your member sites, I recently just posted an exclusive. I recommend you check it out. And I talked to you guys about three things: health, wealth, relationships. Health, wealth, relationships. This lecture today is about relationships. There are different types of relationships that one can have, but I want you all to know that if you choose to be in a relationship, and all relationships are of choice when you're an adult, even family, the truth is that you need to show up for the people that you are in a relationship with, be it a business relationship, a friendship, familial. And obviously, you want to choose to be in relationships with people who are reliable and will reciprocate, most importantly. So I encourage you all to be great friends. But the key is to be friends with people who can reciprocate, good people. Send in your comments, questions. We're going to get into it. We got some good game today. Obviously, I wouldn't be checking my phone during a talk. Just do have some more pressing matters going on. And I want you all to know that if you're successful, that's the nature of life. You're always going to have a lot going on, a lot of success, a lot of good things, a lot of challenges. Okay, let's work. And I appreciate your patience and you all being here. As you know, sometimes life happens. You have to show up for the people who matter. Anyways, let's talk about it. Trust and predictability of the female. You hear me? Trust and predictability of the female. And obviously, I'm speaking from the position of a man. Theoretically, if you're a real man, if you're a leader, if you're someone who would be considering having kids, you are reliable, you are straightforward, you are disciplined, you are a good planner, you're a reasonable earner, you're emotionally stable, you have something to offer. And our lives are what we design them to be. Certainly, children should be a part of that picture. So the first thing for me, you might say, Marquette, and every now and then I'll meet women, of various ages, and generally they don't accurately guess my age. If they're a younger woman, they'll definitely guess my age much younger, closer to theirs. If they're a woman that's closer to my age, they'll still guess it below my age. And then they'll eventually say, oh, well, why don't you have any kids? And that's because when you're in a strong position, they expect that, why haven't you had any kids? You're established. Why not? And I'll tell you why not. It's because of, number one, female delusion, which is a very common and dangerous thing. You see, and I'll give you some anecdotes to elucidate the nature of the delusion and what causes it to grow. And we've all been guilty of contributing to female delusion. And I'll also explain oppositely why men have very low levels of delusion or lack delusion. So, for example, there's one young lady I know, reasonably pleasant, reasonably attractive in the face, very much so a masterpiece in the body. And there were really only 2.5 gripes that I had with her, 2.5. One is that for some strange reason in the bedroom, she thinks that she gets to change, but like choose when we change positions. Like, no. You're getting smashed, like you're getting smashed. You're not the director. You're not the captain on the boat. You're a passenger on the boat. So like, nah, I'm going to be in charge of changing positions. Like I'm the minister of position changing. So like, no, you chill. Just take this pipe, shorty. And I'd say of my experience, maybe she's one of 2 women that have ever tried to like suggest position changes. I'm like, what's going on here? So that I don't like at all. And then she used to also wake me up to have intercourse, which is also crazy. It's like, don't interrupt my sleep. I don't sleep a lot. Don't interrupt it. And then, and these are, the first thing is annoying. That's unacceptable. The second thing is a bit more minor. Actually, no, that's pretty annoying too. And then the third thing is her cooking skills, very poor. Now, the reason I bring this up with regards to delusion is because with interrupting my sleep, I said, hey, don't ever do that again in your life. She said, okay. She did it one more time after that and then never again after that. Then with the position changing, I just didn't have the heart to have a conversation with her and say, hey, what are you, some kind of pervert? Like you trying to get it how you like it? Like, nah, we ain't rocking like that. I was like, it's not, I don't really feel comfortable having the conversation. And I'll tell you why. Because we all have levels of capital or energy that we're willing to expend on certain things. And when you, especially as a man that has a lot of options, when you decide that you're not going to be with a woman for good, or she's not a main piece, or you find something in her that makes you have to marginalize her, then it's not really worth investing the training, investing the education in her, because you know that she's not going to be here for long, or she's going to be marginal. So as a result, you don't deliver the truth to her. She doesn't figure out that she has certain flaws or deficiencies. She remains deluded. And more importantly, if you're a real man, you have emotional intelligence. And so even if she gets you angry or annoys you, you don't get mad and then start, I'm going to tell you about yourself, and then start insulting her or making accusations or trying to embarrass her. Whereas conversely, because many women are emotionally unhinged, if they get angry at you, you're about to hear all of the things they've been holding in. They're going to say anything that they can think of that you've ever done wrong. They're going to point out any deficiency you have. Any secret you would have shared, any vulnerability, any weakness you've ever exposed. It's about to come straight to the surface in the most insulting, unpleasant way imaginable. And as a result, because their lack of emotional control causes them to insult you using the truth as they see it, you become keenly aware of what your flaws and deficiencies are. And further, because males are sex-crazed animals, many of them, not me at all, they would prefer to have some sex as opposed to no sex, because most of them are suffering with the reality of no sex. So they'd rather have some sex. So if a woman has a loose vagina, the walls are like, where, the walls are not really there. A guy would rather have intercourse with this woman who has a very loose, cavernous vagina and never, of course, never tell her, because if you tell her that, she's going to get mad and you're probably not going to be able to smash anymore. So they'll have intercourse with her, even though the vagina quality is very low, because they don't want to be in a situation of having no vagina. Whereas in the case of the females, you see them on social media all the time describing the kind of cocks they like. You got to be this. You got to be this. I like the girth. You got to be this big around. This big around. You got to be this long. Like a 12-incher, 10-incher. Like the size of a hoagie, the size of a Subway sandwich. You got to be like that. I like my guts smashed in. So they're describing all kind of cocks, and they've ran through entire fields of cocks, and so they have no problem describing what they want. And of course, in doing so, and in having a preference which only comes from being promiscuous, then they thereby deride and degrade the guys who don't measure up, pun intended. So males can't be deluded at all. You heard Shorty on Instagram Reel talking about, I like thick cocks, about 10-incher. So you're not deluded at all. You at the house, like looking at your joint like, oh man, this ain't gonna get the job done. This ain't gonna get the job done. Man, I'm about 5-6 inches too short. Now here's the good news for you guys is that women are so damn goofy, and they're really bad at logic, spatial awareness, and reasoning, that a woman will say 10 inches or 12 inches, but she actually does not know how long that is in reality. So a woman actually thinks that like 6 inches is more like 10 inches. And she thinks that 8 inches is more like 12 inches. So that's the good news for you guys. For me, man, I'm really slanging it out here. You dig? Man, if you guys were on the drip trip, I told a story that I just frankly can't repeat to the public. But the point is this, women being delusional, emotionally unhinged, increasingly unrefined and vulgar, they are very clear about what they do like, what they don't like. As soon as they get mad at you, they insult you, sometimes with the truth, but it's mostly the truth as they see it. So a man cannot be deluded. He's going to get confronted with the truth. She's going to tell you that you're broke. She's going to show you that you can't afford the things that she wants. Your deficits will be apparent. Conversely, a man who's in a strong position dealing with a woman who's unworthy, maybe dealing with her, bro, you ain't got to get that specific, bro, over here wilding. Most women can't even take 7 inches. Like, bro, like we don't even need to do all that. You're be like, just let that go. But a man who's in a strong position dealing with an unworthy female, I'm not going to take out time and tell the broad, like sit her down and look her dead in her eyes. Like it's a therapy session. Like, hey, you cooked me some hamburger helper. I don't think that's a complex dish. I don't know how to cook in general. I don't know how to cook hamburger helper in particular, but I have an eerie feeling that's not a complex dish. So being that you failed at that, your cooking skills are atrocious. And then she's like, no, I can learn. No. When you mess up something like that, no, you cannot learn. See, because if you're a grown woman at your age and you ain't figured this out by now, there's no need. Don't even try. No. Don't even try. It's like this. Every kid learns how to walk. You hear me? If you're like 10 years old and the kids still can't walk, they getting up, falling. I'm going to just like, look, walking ain't for you. Just don't. Everybody else figured this out by age 2 or 3. You still ain't figured this out. This ain't for you. Bring the wheelchair. Like, sit in this, man. Yeah, like that. So the point is that, I didn't sit Shorty down and say, hey, you failed at making hamburger helper. That makes you a dweeb. I didn't tell her that. I've experienced a woman with a cavernous vagina, and it's really sad because she's a nice lady, really is a nice woman, genuinely a pleasant woman, and on program. I didn't sit her down and say, hey, look, having intercourse with you is a serious burden. That's why I almost never initiate. And in fact, when I put my penis inside of you, I just feel lost. And I start to have nightmares of like falling and descending in a dark canyon of sorts. It's really unpleasant. And, frankly, when I'm having intercourse with like a normal woman, that has walls and stuff like that, I'm always holding on for dear life. Like, no, don't let it go. Hold on, quit. You stronger than this. Nigga, focus. Like, that's how I feel. But when I'm having intercourse with you, I'm just like, it's so easy. I'm like, I can do this forever. And it's like, I start getting mad. Like, damn, this is going kind of long. Like, I can't even get one off because there's nothing to interact with within this hollow cave. So, you know, your vagina is like, can you get this repaired? Is there like a, I know cars get an oil change and a tune up. Like, can you, is there somewhere you can go? Like, no, I don't think Kegels is going to work. No, I don't think there's enough Kegels in the world to, I think you need surgery. Like, no, I don't sit down and explain to Shorty like, hey, your vagina is, I wouldn't give it to my worst enemies. No, I don't sit down and explain that to her. So she's going to go on with that trash cat and, give it to this guy and that guy and think that it's, good. So, and she doesn't really have a good comparison basis, because here's the thing, right? If you're a man sitting out there and say, I finished dealing with some chick, right? So I finished dealing with, fill in the blank female, then you deal with her afterward, right? And then you try to get in her guts, and then she looking at you like, bro, you just fencing in here. You hear me? You just poking. The big homie was in here cutting them guts up like a samurai. You hear me? Like, you're going to know the difference because there's a comparison basis. Like, it's very mathematically oriented and discrete. She can say, your penis is 4 inches. Marquette's penis is 9 inches, right? Like, she can discreetly say that. And she can say, like, your penis is about like the thickness of a pencil. Marquette's penis is about the thickness of a Egyptian column. It's very discreet to be able to measure up those things. So with a woman, all we say is loose or tight, but here's the kicker. We never tell them. Like, I have never looked in a woman's face and told her like, yeah, your vagina garbage, shorty. Like, don't even be, nah, keep that to yourself. I've never done that in my entire life. Now, maybe I've told some chicks like, yo, this that fire. You want fire? Like, yeah, for sure. I usually tell them while I'm in it, you dig? And I go out straight after that. Sometimes I make them tell me, you dig? I don't know. I'm a wild boy. But the point is, they stay in this delusion, and sadly, they all think they're attractive. They all think they have good vagina. They all think that they know how to do this or that they can learn, even though sometimes it's too late to learn. Like, I don't want to get you and like pull a fixer upper. Like, hell no, I want you to come to me fully assembled, just like I'm coming to you fully assembled. And the worst thing is when you deal with women today because they're promiscuous. If a woman wasn't promiscuous, maybe she might not be a virgin when I get to her, but at least she dealt with people on the level. She dealt with bosses. You hear me? So I'm getting her, from another boss to me. And so she is, knowing how to exist on a certain level. But the problem with these promiscuous broads is that they come from dealing with peons because they're whores, right? So they didn't lay down with everybody. They come from dealing with a peon, then they dealing with a boss, and they got low standards for themselves and low standards in terms of how they interact with a man. And I'm going to really talk about that one because it's critical. But let me go ahead and take a pause for the cause. May I acknowledge Nicaragua Saint writes, A1, I'm ready for the gems. He writes, is the old saying it's lonely, I think he meant lonely at the top, true? Hell no, it's crowded, bro. Like, people be crowding around you trying to become friends. The thing that they don't talk about enough is how much people try to steal from you. Like, this is the thing that it's just hard for me to accept how much everyone tries to steal money from you. I'm talking about your family, your friends, strangers, fans. It's just unbelievable how much people try to steal money from you. That's the piece that they don't talk about. Kamal, he writes, tuition, peace of saints. Shout out to Kamal. Good to see you again. Shout out to the saints in Europe. Jelan writes, not a thing, just supporting the work. Appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. Yes, indeed. Now, also acknowledge via PayPal. Shout out to Patrick. Came in. He writes, when you were milking that older gentleman for information, I was not milking him for information. I was having conversation with him for wisdom, not information. Information is like facts. I was getting wisdom, interpretation, recommendations, hearing his story. He writes, which is what you stated on one of your recent lives. How did you make him feel? Well, the good fortune is we had environment in my favor. So if you're in business class on a flight, it's generally assumed that we're of a similar income and socioeconomic strata. So people are more willing to be open. And then secondly, we're going to the same destination. We're coming from the same destination. So there's conversation based on that. There's commonality, common ground. There were some more casual conversations that I engaged him with early on because I heard his accent. He had a German accent. And so I said, "Oh, you're German." He says, "Yeah, I am a German." And then, we start talking about, where he's living now. And I had some questions about, land purchases in different environments. And then we came together on the abject, disgusting situation in Egypt. And so we kind of had some laughs there. And we observed that we share biases. One thing to note, this is advanced, is that some people look for commonality in terms of interest, the things that you like, but also what's very powerful is having commonality on the things that you don't like, the things that you despise and hate. And so instantly we had a bond in terms of us both hating how filthy Cairo is and how dishonest the people are and how far they've come from their former glory. And so we riffed on that a little bit. And then me always thinking about, the stock market was tanking. And this guy is a well-to-do international businessman operating in the European market and as well the Asian and Middle Eastern market. So he has unique insights. And he also lives in Eastern Europe. So he has unique, meaningful insights. So I asked him about those things so that I could gain knowledge of, how to manipulate my stock buys and then also how to anticipate what's going to happen in the geopolitical arena and trying to get a sense of how strong Germany and France are militarily, economically, socially, and also what the sentiment is in those places. You see, because it's one thing to be strong. It's another thing to feel strong. And it's another thing to feel strong relative to your competitors. And in understanding those, you can predict how these nation states are going to behave. So those were the kind of conversations that we started on. And then once I realized that he has wisdom and insight, I thought to myself, okay, this is a person. This is me in 20 years. I'm sitting next to myself in 20 years. Hopefully I'd be on a private jet, but I was sitting next to myself in 20 years. And so I said, okay, well, let me get some information that'll make the next 20 years easier and more streamlined. And so I engaged the conversation from there. Gentleman writes, were there no, it's not that deep. It was pretty simple. Gentleman comes back on Venmo. He writes, I ordered my first sample yesterday after you told me to get the shipping costs reduced. They reduced it from $60 to $52. The manufacturer said it should be here in 2 months. That's a bit long. Should I work on getting more samples shipped? Well, one thing I often talk about is not having a single point of failure. So I would get at least one other. Kyle comes in by Venmo. He writes, QBTS is up 100% in the last 2 days. Congrats if you had it in your portfolio. He writes, sharing some of the proceeds. I hope some people were on that as well. Me too. Me too. And I appreciate you. Shout out to those men who are earning well and feel abundance. EJ writes, for the recent exclusive and upcoming game, thank you, Mr. Burton. Peace of the Saints. Shout out to Joshua supporting the work. Good to see you again. Mr. Gardner came in, writes, peace of the Saints tuition. Always supporting. Alvin writes, the Black Box is a guide for those of us who truly started out in the belly of the beast. Those of us who have been blessed with ambition and genuine desire to experience all that life has to offer. MDB shows us what is possible. Sassin or nothing. I appreciate you. And for those of you who have not gotten the Black Box, I highly recommend it. It is the best book for life improvement. Took me 10 years to write it, and I wrote it for you. You can get a low-cost ebook at thesassin.com, or you can go to amazon.com and get a paperback on Amazon Prime. Shout out to Javier, came in by PayPal, writes, tuition. Appreciate you. Shout out to the real ones. May I also acknowledge Andre, he writes, tuition, we'll catch the replay. Side note, that suit is fire. I appreciate you. Andre, did you ever send me the info for your fanny pack? Did we get that posted? Let me know where we're at with that one. If there's something you need to do or I need to do to make sure that you can get going on that one. Mr. Andre has a phenomenal product I highly recommend to all of you. Very high quality, and he took his time to produce it. Yes, indeedy. Carrying on. So now you understand why women are delusional and men are not. Part of it, I think, is inherent. Number one. Then number two, I think the second part results from sexual relations between men and women. Men lie to get sex, men lie to maintain sex. And the third part is, you know, it could vary based on the female. Maybe they didn't grow up with any brothers or no father. Maybe their father was a beta male weakling. Um, Maybe she's very attractive. There's different pieces to it, but the fact is they're all deluded. So what you're looking for is not a woman who's not deluded. You're looking for a woman who's less deluded. Mm? Then the second piece is age. If you're going to have have children with a woman, you want her to be within the correct age. And the great comedy of our day, especially in the West, is that women think that they're young when they're not young. So, for example, you'll hear women who are aged 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 20, all this talking about, oh, I'm young. It's like, what? Young where? When? How? Who? What are you talking about? You're not young. If you're 16, that's young in absolute terms. If you're 17, that's young in absolute terms. If you're 18, now you're an adult. You're in womanhood officially, legally. You're 19. Yeah, you're still young. You're 20. Now things are starting to get tight for you, meaning that you need to start making adult decisions now. Like you're way out of childhood. You're way out of girlhood. You're 20. You need to now start planning, because here's why. Your peak age of giving birth to a child that is physically healthy is 16. I don't care what you read on the internet. I don't care what Chat GPT says. Physically, the peak age to birth a child as a female is age 16. That's a fact. Now, you might see other answers on Google or in journals, and what they're basing it on is not the physical health of the child, but rather they're basing it on the social, emotional, and financial things that you can put around the child when the mother is older in age based on their calculations. Look at this. We got an older woman, big mad. She big mad. Women hate the truth. Oh my goodness, they hate the truth. An older woman hates to hear that younger women are desirable. It's a pity, you see, because as a mature man, if a woman says, hey, Marquette, I want a guy who's 25, I'm not going to hate the broad for that. And I'm not going to hate on a 25-year-old guy for that. You heard me? Like if I'm talking to a beautiful woman and she says, hey, Marquette, I want a guy that's 25. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put on one of my little homies. You dig? Yeah, absolutely. I was like, oh, hold on, man. I know the perfect guy for you. Yeah. Preston, meet this, like, ain't he tall and handsome? Yeah, you owe me one. I'll be at the wedding. It's love. You see, but the thing is, because women are so washed up, you have older women trying to compete with younger women. You see, so what they try to do so that they don't lose all of their options, the older women, they'll try to discourage men their age from going down to get younger, more fertile women. So they lie and they try to, guilt and shame. I saw there's some weird looking red pill guy he's on the internet trying to make a buck. And he's in a foreign country, passport bro kind of situation. He made a video. I was just thinking, like, bro, like, you're big tripping. I didn't make any comment to like hate on him or anything or say anything negative, because it's not my personality. But I was kind of like, well, yo, you're super tripping. But bro's like, in his videos, like, yeah, I only date teenagers. Yeah, I date teenagers because, you want to get them young, teenagers. I was just like, bro, what are you talking about? I hit the comments immediately. I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to, disparage him, because I'm not a negative person. It doesn't benefit me to tear bro down. If that's what he owned, that's what he owned. I look at the comments. No guys, all angry women. Now, here's the thing. I don't sign off on what he did. I'm sure a lot of men don't sign off on what he did. But why were the comments exclusively female? Why were they all very angry? It's not because women have more morals than men. They don't. Look at how women dress. They can't wear a shirt without showing their breast. They can't go outside without their pants being tight up their butt. They don't have more morals. All you gentlemen have to do is scroll down your Instagram feed. You will see tons of women jiggling and shaking and gyrating for $1. They don't have more morals than men. They are the Eve that got us all eternally damned. So why all of a sudden do these women seem to have so many morals when this guy is talking about dating teenage girls, or I should say teenage women, because he's talking about 18-year-old and 19-year-old. Those are teenage women. Why all of a sudden do they have so many morals? Jealousy and competition. That's why. They don't want to lose out on their choice of men. They don't want to deal with the reality that men don't want your old vagina. Like, you got gray hairs on your vagina, baby. Sit it down. It's all over. It's all over. That's all that was. Yeah. That's why Charlotte's mad. Charlotte is big mad. Come on now. Charlotte is big mad. And in a mature man, like, I don't care if some woman wants to date an 18-year-old young man or a 19-year-old young. I think it's weird, but I'm not about to get angry. I'm not going to get involved. I'm not going to get on Instagram comments. No point. No point. Shout out to Andre, came in via Venmo. He writes, currently waiting for the 50 pieces to be finished. Okay. Texted manufacturer yesterday for an update. They'll get back to me on Monday. I will update you once the pieces are finished. FYI, shipping will take another month. Okay, very good. He writes, thank you for the love. Absolutely. I want to see everyone win. And not only do I say I want to see you win, I also help you. You see, there's a lot of people, they have a lot of words, pretty words, insufficient action. Like your preacher, for example. Yes, when the preacher man needs something, what does he say to you? He says, oh, go ahead and tithe. Give me your money. When you need something, what does he give you? Does he give you money? Does he give you practical help? No, he gives you a prayer. Oh, I'm going to pray for you, brother. I'm going to pray for you. You're like, Pastor, I'm getting evicted from my house. Oh, I'm going to pray for you. Nigga, don't pray for me. Give me some money. Nigga, I saw you collect $5,000 in the collection plate today. I only need $1,000. Help a nigga out. But he ain't going to help you. Heck nah. He gonna pray for you. He going to pray for you. He going to let Jesus save you. Jesus couldn't even save himself, but Jesus going to save you. Amazing. Amazing. Shout out to Gwinsley, comes in via PayPal. He writes, this morning's exclusive was excellent. It's the jolt I needed to start my working day. That suit is aesthetically fascinating, stylish, unique, but also comfortable. Indeed, it is comfortable. I appreciate that. And yes, I always love putting up those exclusives because they hit so hard, man. And so if you haven't checked that out, if you're a member, check it out. If you're not a member, we welcome you to this thing of ours. May I acknowledge Inola, comes in by Venmo. He writes, tuition. I revere you a lot. I'm a 25-year-old Nigerian American. Since I want a family, how do I balance my family's expectations of having a wife and kids and invite a different perspective of having many women at my disposal? It's Eniola. I got you. Eniola. Yes, you got to put that at the beginning, my boy. So number one, remember, as a man, you don't have to explain what you're going to do to anyone. Just do it. Yeah, the greatest philosophy I've ever heard, the most practical, is from Nike. Just do it. You don't have to explain. You don't have to convince. Just do it. No one can stop you. You hear me? They can't stop you. See, that's the problem, is that and this is what I talked about in the Master Communicator course. I have an entire lesson on setting your mind correctly. There's some things you talk about. There's some things you just do. Come on now. And that's a matter of communication. And action is a communication. Come on now. Let's get after it. Let's get after it. May I acknowledge Khalid writes, peace of the saints. Thanks as usual. I'm aiming for a CPA in Toronto. Do you recommend I focus more on tax or audit? Really, I couldn't say, but I would ask myself, in your position, who's earning the best? And I would look at the specialties of those persons within your industry that are earning the best. Here's the goal is to make the most money. See, there you go. So I'm not in tax, accounting, auditing. So I would ask someone who is, or I would do some Google searches and find out, like, what is the highest earning specialty? Is it forensic accounting? Is it tax strategy? Is it auditing? What is it? And then I would specialize in that. And I would first ask myself, this field of endeavor, will this exist in 15 years? Will it be thriving in 15 years? Right? Should I also learn some tech skills? It's like, damn, bro, like, you can only do so much. Like, pick the right thing and then do it, in a dedicated way. Shout out to Jordan, writes, tuition, peace of the saints. Khalid is back. He writes, additional for the, oh, absolutely. I got you, Brody. Daniel writes, I'll always look forward to your live, Saint. They are always entertaining and insightful. Peace of the saints. I appreciate that. It is a special mix of excellent information, poetic speech, and good humor. It's rare. In fact, I think I may be the only one doing it in this format. Everybody else has to host someone to be interesting. They have to bring on a celebrity to be interesting. They don't have any information. You hear me? They don't have knowledge to pour out. Yes, indeedy. May I acknowledge via PayPal? Shout out to Cole. He writes, old ladies get big mad when you want fresh water. Peace to the saints. Bro, you ain't lying. They be mad as hell. And the reason is that they haven't lived their lives correctly. And they start saying stupid things. I saw one broad in the comments on this particular video. So I don't know what bro is talking about in the chat. But anyways, I will remind you guys one last time. Do not mention other content creators in my chat. If you super chat, fine. But not in my live chat. I'm going to assume you're promoting and no one's getting free promo out here. You dig? Assassin or nothing. You dig? But anyways, I saw one broad in the comments. Oh, she was big mad. Big mad. And she said, well, how would you feel when you're 50 years old and you have a daughter and some guy who's 40 or 30 wants to date your 18-year-old daughter? And I was like, first off, shorty, stop with all these fake scenarios. That's number one. Then number two, what does this have to do with you? Why are you so worked up? Like, go learn a skill or something. Go raise your kids. Like, get a man, you lonely animal. But here's the thing. What she doesn't realize is that honest, reasonable men are looking at it as follows. So if I was 50 and I had a daughter and she was 20, let's say 18, 19, 20, even 17, 18, 19, 20, and she had a sincere interest in a man who was 30 years old, and he had a sincere interest in her, and he was reasonably qualified educationally, financially, emotionally, and all the rest of it, I would prefer to give my daughter to a 30-year-old man than a 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25-year-old man. Because I've been a 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25-year-old man. And I know what they're capable of. I know how they think. I know the level of commitment that they can put up. I know how much they understand themselves, and more importantly, how much they don't understand themselves. So I would much rather say, okay, I have a girl here, or a woman who is my daughter, who is precious to me, and I want the best for her and her family, and I want my name to continue. I want my DNA to continue, preferably through a son, but in this case with a daughter. So would I give her to a young man who's closer in age, who's more likely to not be able to support her, who's more likely to leave, who's more likely to lie? No, because then my daughter is going to be bouncing from guy to guy. She's going to catch a bunch of bodies, and she's going to have less and less value over time. I'd much rather give her to the guy that's more likely to know who he is, have a career, and be able to predict the next 10 to 15 years of his life and her life. That's what I would rather do. I don't want my daughter on a cock carousel. Absolutely not. You dig? Come on now. Yeah. Let's not be foolish. And that's the problem. That's when you know you're dealing with a stupid broad, because she's asking stupid questions that she thinks she knows the answer to and doesn't even know the answer. She thinks guys are like, oh, no, actually, I don't want my daughter with it. No, I'm not going to have intercourse with my daughter. Somebody's got to do it. I want it to be as few guys as possible. I don't have a problem with someone slaying my daughter. It has to happen. Let it be as few guys as possible with the guys who are most qualified, because the purpose of setting my daughter up is not for her to get slayed. It's for her to create a family. A 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25-year-old young man is not ready to handle a family. Like, stop it. So basically what that dumb broad was saying is that your daughter should basically go get screwed by a bunch of guys her age before she eventually figures out that she wants to have kids after she's caught 40 bodies. Like, come on, broad, stop it. Use a goofy. And don't even know it. That's the worst part. That's the worst part. And further, you can tell that these people aren't happy. You see, I'm too happy to get into someone else's comment section and say negative stuff. If you ever see me in a comment section of some other creator, it's usually to encourage or to say thank you. It's not to like try to deride, because I'm too happy to sustain those kind of thoughts, to, you know, take out the time, like have a negative thought in my mind and bring it all the way to like start, you know, typing mean tweets. Like, come on, knock it off. Life's too good. These mad, lonely hoes. That's how you know they ain't got nothing going on in life. Shout out to Enola writes, actually, I got to go back. You got to put the phonetic pronunciation in every Venmo at the beginning. He writes, sending the extra tuition. I appreciate your insight. Absolutely. You are welcome. Yeah, it's a wild world. And the funny thing is the world has so many lies in it, saints. That's what I really want to caution you to, is to be prepared. And all of these strangers, always view them as a potential threat, a potential liar. Make sure you're recording, make sure you're taking notes, make sure you're dealing with them cautiously, because there's so many liars on the planet Earth. You hear me? So many liars. Shout out to Mr. Buck writes, thank you for the work, Mr. Bird. Mr. Buck always supporting. We appreciate you. Shout out to him. So we've covered female delusion and why males are less delusional. Not to say that they aren't. The worst kind of male to deal with is a weak male, because they're liars, because they're beggars, because they're not trustworthy, because they're not strong. Those are the worst kind of males to deal with, I promise you. We also just addressed the age of the female. So really, from a child or shall we say baby making perspective, the female has to be within a certain age range for it to be even worth it for me to talk to her. And she has to not only be within a certain age range for me to start the conversation, but also because once you start talking to a woman, you're not going to get her pregnant straight away, right? You're going to take some time. So as a result, you have to think of it like, okay, when I start talking to her, she has to be young enough that in 2 years, she's still young enough to have healthy kids. That's how you have to look at it as a man. When a woman's in her late 20s, forget about it. You're done. You're screwed. Because the truth is, in her late 20s, she has very few, she has fewer baby making years, and she's creeping into those years where the kid is more likely to be born with Down syndrome and other things. We're seeing in the West, like, there's so much dishonesty. They say things and act like they don't know the answer. They're like, there's a lot of, increased instances of kids being autistic, and everybody's like, it must be the food. The food's processed. I was like, or it's these old ass bitches having kids. You did? Because my grandma had her first kid at age 16, and she had 9 of them things because she had time. She had time. When you start at 16, you can get 9 of them out. So maybe my grandmother had kids when she was young and healthy. I truly believe, and you guys can write this down as a proverb, let you never impregnate a woman that has a wrinkle upon her face. Let you never impregnate a woman while she has a wrinkle upon her face. That's too old for a first baby. That first child cannot go into that woman when she has a wrinkle upon her face. From then, that's your old lady. Go ahead, do what you do, see what you can get out of her. But the truth is, we're lying, talking about, it's the processed foods. Nigga, what? No, it's these old hoes with these dusty coochies. That's what it is. It's these dusty coochies. That's why them kids coming out slobbering on themselves. Come on, man. Quit playing with it. And in addition to that, it's worth noting that, yes, you do have processed foods. And I've said this before, but are you suggesting that these middle-class white women who are having kids have a worse diet than my grandmother did, being the descendant of a sharecropper who was a descendant not long ago of actual slaves who grew up on chitlins, hog mogs, neck bones, and like low-cost, terrible foods, government cheese? Come on, what are the chances? Stop it. We got to be real out here. We got to be real out here. People want to lie. They don't want to deal with the facts. Shout out to Uriel, writes, tuition, peace of the saints. Appreciate you, man. Also acknowledge Dominic. He writes, not sure if you read my last one. No, I don't think. Maybe. But keep up the good work. Saint, so many listen, only a few really hear. So many hate and lie. So few are truth tellers, let alone truth seekers. That part. It's moving so fast. Today's a heck of a day. I can't remember if I read one from you. I think I did. I'm sure someone in the chat can confirm. All the same, we appreciate you. Nicaragua writes, how would you deal with a rude person, perhaps at work, or a rude waiter? I hate to lose my class and decorum to set a low person straight. That's a very good question. Let's take the case of a waiter. We were in Vietnam for the drip trip. This is a true story. I was there with about 5 saints and my assistant. We go into a restaurant, which I had been to before. I actually know the owner. I didn't reach out to him about this. I probably should have. But we go into, he's a foreigner. He's American, actually. But anyway, so we go into the restaurant and we sit down, and the waitress comes over and she gives out the menus, and then she leaves, comes back very shortly and says, are you ready to order? I said, no, we're almost ready. Would you just give us 2 minutes, right? Now, mind you, there's only one other table in the restaurant. Everything else is empty. She leaves, comes back in 23 minutes, gets back in about 23 minutes. And then I say, wow, that was a long 2 minutes. Sheesh. And then she says, oh, well, it's a lot of orders. I was like, it's only one other table here. I was like, stop it. And then we start proceeding to order. And then she's like, no, it's really busy. I was like, okay, that's fine. And she's like, yeah, no, it's fine. I was like, that's fine. And I turned to one of the saints. I was like, what? Why is she still talking about it? And then she says, well, that's because I'm like, I'm talking to him. Like, you're getting in my conversation. I was like, you know what? We're done here. She was like, no. I was like, no. We're done here. We get up. We all leave. I tell the 6 or so people who are with me, I said, dinner's on me. Next restaurant we go to, I'll pay for dinner for everyone, but I'm not going to eat there because I'm not going to have a psychotic female handling my food. I'm not going to have a psychotic female handling food that I have to put into my body, because women can be manipulative, evil, and deceitful, and they're not going to punch you in the face, but because they're weak. But what they will do is put something in your food, and I'm not going to risk myself. I'm not going to risk any one of you. So I said, I'll pay for dinner. So we went to a different place, had dinner. So there's some people, you don't even deal with them. They're too low class. You got to talk boss to boss. You heard me? So if there's somebody above them, say, hey, peon, go get your boss. Go get your manager. In fact, recently when I was in Istanbul on a connecting flight to come back to the United States, and I was pulled out of line to do a random search at the gate, which was courtesy of the American government. Then when I was put back in line, when I was supposed to be going back to the line, the agent that was taking me back to the line, he was like, where were you in line? I said, well, frankly, I don't remember, but I think I was behind this guy. And then the agent says, well, if you don't remember, I'm going to have to take you to the back of the line. I was like, what? I was like, do you think I'm trying to cut in line or something? He was like, no, but if you don't know where you were, you got to go to the end. I say, well, why is that? He says, because then you'd be cutting somebody in line. I said, well, I told you, I think I'm right there. And you're telling me that rather than go approximately where I was, you'd send me to the back of a line that you pulled me out of? I was like, that doesn't make any sense. He's like, well, that's the way it is. I was like, you know what? Actually, no, that's not the way it is. That's the way you want it to be. He's like, no, that's the way it is. I was like, no, actually, I've seen you before. You're one of those small people who has no power whatsoever, but you want to feel like you have power. So that's fine. We can do this the hard way. Go get your boss. No, I was like, no. Go get your boss. He's like, well, I was like, no. Go get your boss. And he was like, no. I was like, wait, listen, if you keep talking, I'm going to get louder and I'm going to create a situation you don't want. So go get your boss. So then he leaves to go get his boss. His boss comes back and he says, what's the issue? I say, your guy pulled me out to do a random check. That was not random, which is fine. Then he brings me back to the line. He says, where are you? I say, I think I'm behind this gentleman, but I'm not sure. And then he says, well, then you need to go to the end of the line. I say, that doesn't make any sense. And then the boss says, oh, well, it was a miscommunication. I says, nah, not quite a miscommunication. It was your guy here trying to send me to the back of the line. I was like, does that make sense to you? Or would you just like estimate where I might be in line? Would you send me to the back of a line that you pulled me out of? He's like, no, I'd probably just tell you to just get in and walk up next. I was like, yeah, exactly. He's like, okay, well, cool. You're right there. I was like, you're good. And I was like, yeah, talk to that guy. Talk to that guy. He's an idiot. So I said, like, you don't deal with peons if you don't have to. If bro is a peon, treat him like a peon. Like, go get your boss. You're a peon. I don't talk to you. And he says, how do you deal with a rude person? It depends on the context. You know what I mean? Like, say you're in a situation where there's no witnesses at all. And if the person is being rude, I knew I could for sure get away with it, I'd literally murder them. I would literally murder them. Now, it's rare that you're in such a beautiful situation. Say like you're in the third world in a dark alley in a country that you snuck into and they don't have your passport or a copy of your fingerprints and you're close to the border and maybe it's a war zone. Kill them and then go on about your business. But you're almost never in that situation, unfortunately. So generally, you got to let these animals live. So if it's a rude person, you avoid them. Or if you can crush them, you use a clever way to crush them. And that's all contextually and environmentally determined. But I'll tell you what, it will benefit you all to think before you speak, think before you act. And I'll tell you why. Just recently, someone that was taking care of some business for me in a different state, they had a situation and end up in getting arrested in jail. So think before you speak, think before you act. The good news is that if you're ever taking care of business for me and you get arrested or something happens to you, I'm going to get you out of jail. You hear me? I'll do whatever it takes. I'll pay whatever it takes. I'll go wherever it takes. I'm going to get you out of jail. One, because I hate jail. It's a terrible place. Number two, the government is corrupt and dishonest and unethical. and they're thieves of our taxes, thieves of our freedom. So I hate the government. I don't want you to be a victim of them. So I'm gonna come get you if you're executing on my business items. So deal with people who really love and respect you. They'll take care of you. Shout out to none of the above. He writes, women lost most ludicrously contrived scenarios. Oh, excuse me. Women love the most ludicrously contrived scenarios. Oh, absolutely. I shout to Nicaragua. He writes, how about at work if they hold higher position? Well, if they don't hold the highest position, you're good, right? Because if they hold the highest position, you'd probably be fired if they don't like you. So if they hold a higher position than you, I would probably, and I think I've talked about this before, but I'd probably find a way to set them up to say or do the wrong thing. And then I would report them to HR. And then I would try to get out of their hierarchy, which is to say, if they were my manager, I'd try to get out of their hierarchy to be managed by someone else. But generally speaking, you should avoid people, places, situations that you don't like or that are not favorable. There's no reason to exist in an unfavorable situation in these United States of America. You hear me? Like if you were, for example, a Syrian refugee who went over to Lebanon seeking peace, and then you become trafficked and forced to do unthinkable things, you're kind of stuck in that. But if you're in America working at CVS, you could just quit and work at Rite Aid, or quit and work at Walmart, or quit and work at Kohl's. Like don't act like you have to be somewhere that you don't want to be. Magnage John, he writes, the way you speak reminds me of Hans, the SS general from Inglourious Bastards. The way he interrogates, the way you break down women on podcasts is similar. Yeah, that was a Hollywood situation. That was kind of disheartening. I hate when Hollywood takes movies and then just abuses the truth. But I don't know. Is that a compliment? Maybe. Thanks. Shout out to Josiah. He writes, Peace of the Saints, player jacket. I see that collar up. It got to be like that sometimes, man. It got to be like that. I appreciate you. Shout out to Marcos. He writes, Peace of the Saints. Just completed our weekly workout with the San Antonio Assassin. Shout out to the Texas section, man. I just had someone out there looking at properties on my behalf. There's a beautiful property with some gorgeous land. It's hard to find. The land was gorgeous. Just looks like something off of the first Avatar movie. It's beautiful. Shout out to Darius. He writes, Marquetold Trump. Yes, indeed. Meet the billions. Shout out to Jefferson. He writes, has the corruption of Islam deterred you from wanting to build a family with Muslim women? Peace of the Saints. No, because if it's a feminine woman, she's going to be whatever you are. You hear me? If you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, if you're a saint, she's going to be that. That's what good women are. They become what you lead them into. So no, it hasn't. But I tell you what's comical about the Muslims, and I might even do another piece on this because they've been very strong in the comments saying the same idiotic things, largely about my video that exposes how Andrew Tate and Kevin Gates are agents of destruction in Islam, but they're welcome agents. A lot of the doofus Muslims welcome them as celebrity guests in Islam, even though they don't abide by any of the dictates of the deen, any of the pillars of faith. And the Muslims will go in the chat and say the same stupid argument. I'm going to share it with you, and then I'm going to obliterate it very quickly because I'm that smart. They'll say, brother, Aki, you do not judge the deen. The Islam is perfect, but the followers of Islam are not perfect. So you do not judge Islam by the followers of Islam. You do not judge the deen by the Muslims. You judge the deen by the deen, which is completely idiotic. And it's sad that you have so many Muslims that are stupid enough to repeat the same dumb thing. It's sad. This is what they're saying. Now, just let me show intellectual superiority. They're saying you don't judge Harvard University by its students. You judge Harvard by Harvard. You don't judge it by its students. So if Harvard takes in 10,000 students, educates them, puts them through, gives them a baccalaureate degree, they come out and they go into the job market and they all fail and they're all duds. None of them are competent. None of them have the basics. Don't judge Harvard based on that. No, you do judge Harvard because Harvard is the one that was supposed to refine and enculturate and teach these students. They're Harvard students. Just like Islam is supposed to transform and improve these humans. They're Muslims. So yes, you judge Harvard based on the Harvard students. You judge Islam based on the Muslims, the product that it creates. Don't be fools. The Christians say the same idiotic thing. You don't judge the Bible. You don't judge Christianity based on the belief of the Christians because humans are flawed, but the Bible is perfect. Well, if it's so perfect, why is it not impacting human beings? I tell you what, I will never yield to a system, nor will I accept a woman that purports to follow a doctrine or religion that is not regulated. Because when you say you're a Muslim or you say you're a Christian, what does it mean? One Muslim eats pork and smokes weed. What does it mean that you're a Muslim? This guy's eating pork, smoking weed. This person's a transgender claiming to be an imam. What does it mean? They say that they're a Christian. This person's a full LGBTQ advocate, got a rainbow on the church. This person over here is a single mom saying that that's the way God would have it, that she's going to wait till God gives her a man. What does it mean to be a Christian? It means nothing. But one thing I can tell you I can respect about the Jehovah's Witnesses, I remember I was in high school. There's a young lady named Rebecca who was very typical of females. She didn't know how to make the right choices. You heard me? She had a crush on a boss, but she told me she didn't want to. She had a crush on me. Then her best friend, Janae, had a crush on me. They're both attractive girls. Janae was kind of bad. So I was trying to slide on Janae. And Janae was like, oh, I can't mess with you because Rebecca has a crush on you. I was like, shorty, I'm the guy. Every girl in this high school has a crush on me. Quit playing games, though. Shoot it my way. She's like, no, I can't. So there's playing games, right? And once I tried to crack Janae, I couldn't try to crack Rebecca. You know, it's just messy. But the fact is, Rebecca ends up, catching one of the Mexican pretty boys. At my high school, you pretty much had, the blacks, then you had the Mexican pretty boys, and then you had the essays. You heard me, the cholos. And so she got caught slipping by one of the Mexican pretty boys. Shout out to my Mexicans. You heard me? They in there raw, in it like Bennett. They don't care at all. They about to get you pregnant. So he and her booka, booka, booka. Ah! And then she gets pregnant, decides not to have an abortion. And the Jehovah's Witnesses was like, you know what? Your ass is excommunicated. Exit stage left. Yeah. No. You ain't in this no more. No, we ain't no way in hell you walking up into the Kingdom Hall like that. No, use a bad example. You got to go, baby. You got to go. And you know what? I respect it. Absolutely, I respect it. And let me just side note, throw something out here for you guys. Try not to be around people who are wicked and incompetent. That's why I tell you so much, be around good people, because it's expensive to be around people who are incompetent and wicked. They cost you so much freaking money, man. I can't tell you how expensive it is to be around people who are incompetent, who are wicked, who are deceivers. You're going to lose so much money being around them, whether it's money on drinking alcohol or money on getting them out of trouble, like whatever the case is. Shout out to Joshua, came in by PayPal. He writes, appreciate all the valuable game. The more experience I have, the more I'm impressed with how the ism keeps confirming itself to be true. Absolutely. 1000%. Dominic writes, all good, boss. It was offline around. Oh, okay, got you. He writes, I had to send tuition. I remember a quote from a Roman philosopher. Religion is regarded by the common people as true, by the wise as false, and by the rulers as useful. That's Book of Dark Truths, bro. You can't even say that to the people, man. They ain't ready for that. Dominic is too gamed up, man. You can't even be saying stuff like that in the public. You can't say that in the public, man. Come on. That's too much. Oh, that was too much. Shout out to Ricardo supporting the work. We appreciate you. Nah, you can't give them that much game. Ain't no way. People can't handle that. That's too much. Can't give that much truth. So here's the other piece. You got to deal with pretenders. When you're dealing with women, you're dealing with pretenders. When you're dealing with women, you're dealing with pretenders. Marquette, what do you mean? I'll tell you what I mean. They pretend to be more innocent than they are. It's always comical to me when I look at these suckers, man. And mind you, I hate to listen to the thoughts of a sucker. I saw one reel pop up on my IG. It was a clip from Fresh and Fit. Shout out to Fresh and Fit. Shout out to the gentleman. And on this clip, you saw some bimbo. See, I would call her a bimbo. Everybody else would call her a good girl. And this bimbo is on the clip. It's, some brunette, like light brown complexion, like a tan Latina. And she's talking in this soft voice and try to act all sweet. And in the clip, she's like, I don't really go outside. I like mostly stay inside. And, of course, I don't like go to clubs or parties or anything like that. And yeah, I just, for me, it's just, I just focus on my family. And, I'm pretty quiet. I just kind of keep to myself. And then they cut the clip. And then there's like this blonde or like yellow wig wearing Black Ratchet hair-hatted hooligan comes in and she's like, well, you know me. Like, and she say like some silly, Jezebel comment. And then the title of the reel is like Good Girl versus, Ratchet 304. And then you look in the comments and it's a bunch of guys who don't think they're simps. They think they're alpha males. They think they're red pill. They think they're sensible. And they're all in the comments like, oh yeah, this is a good girl. This is the woman men go into war and die for. This is a woman you make kids with. And I'm just like, what? I should shoot all of you Nimrods. You're all beta male, simp, weak peasants. And I was just like, see, these are the guys that think that they're knowledgeable and they know women. I was like, these guys are idiots. And I'll tell you how I know they're idiots. And I wish I was on the panel with that chick trying to act like she was nice, because I would have been so ruthless. I would have made it come out her. You heard me? Yeah, I'd have made her be real because she was being fake and she was fooling these imbeciles. I would have said some wild stuff to her. I'd been like, do you swallow? What? Excuse me? Do you swallow nuts? Do you swallow nuts? Yeah, I'd have said some wild stuff and I'd eventually brought it out of her. Here's why. You dweebs listen to this broad and you get fooled by her pretend game. Me, I've seen all of the broads pretend. I've broken them all down. I've gotten to the depth of their psyche and history. I've Dr. Phil'd so many of them. And the sweetest, most soft-spoken female, she might be so nice. Listen, here's a true story. I got to say, here's a true story because my life is like a movie, so it sounds crazy. I was in university. I was 18 years old. I was a junior at the University of California, Berkeley. I saw this little female, short, brown hair, curly, nice little tan chick, except she wasn't tan. That was actually her skin color. White looking, but tan skin. I don't know what was in her blood. Very thin. You heard me? Probably like a $110. Probably like 5'9", slim ting, pretty little ting. Come to find out, I had a class with her. So I gamed her up and then saw her in class one day. You know, them big lecture halls, you don't even know you're in class with somebody. And she was so soft-spoken and so shy. And you think like, man, this gotta be a good girl. Like, shorty, probably a virgin. You heard me? She gonna take this pipe and just be screaming for like bloody murder. Like, she's just like, you be thinking like, oh man, I gotta take it slow with her. Like, she's so sweet. And one day I was Dr. Phil and shorty. And she told me that she was in, I think, Peru, some Latin American country, but I want to say it was Peru. And she was taking a taxi in Peru by herself. And when she was going to get in the taxi driver told her to sit in the front. So she's like, oh, okay. Sits in the front. So he's driving and she says he kept talking to her and then he was like started holding her hand and like she's like, oh, this is kind of weird, but I didn't say anything. And she says then he like just like pulls his meat out and then puts her hand on his meat and makes her, go ahead, tug it. And I'm just listening to the story just like, yo, what the fuck? What? You telling me you whacked off a 45-year-old motherfucking taxi driver in Nicaragua? Like, what the bitch? What did you just say? In Peru, I don't even remember where she was, but I was just like, wait, you going to different countries to whack off a cat that probably got 8 kids. He drives taxis for a living. He watches like rooster fighting in his evenings and like what? Bro probably speaks no English. Like you whacking is off while they on the clock driving taxis and you trying to act innocent with me? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell nah. Oh, no, hell nah. So what I'm telling you guys is that, you know, for her, that experience was just, whatever. I'm in Peru. I'm whacking off taxi drivers, whatever. So you think you're dealing with a chick who's sweet and all this stuff, and that's either A, it's an act, or B, the thing that you're interpreting, you're misinterpreting. Just because she's soft spoken and says she's shy doesn't mean she don't take pipe left and right. You hear me? Another chick, another true story. And this dumb dingbat broad, she tried to come back to the big homie. I was like, yo, like, you don't like, if I deal with you and then I cast you away and you come back, I need another report. I need the whole facts. What have you been doing? You've been out in them streets. What have you been doing? Like, I can't just be touching you after, what have you been doing in this world? She was like, no, I don't want to talk about it. Like, no, you're going to talk about it or you need to leave. You heard me? Like, nah, like I ain't just accepting anything back. She was like, well, I was only involved with one guy. I was like, whoa. That's one too many. That's one too many. Go back to him. What didn't work out? Go back. Find him. She was like, no, I was just involved with one guy. I was like, how? I was like, I don't even remember. Like, when's the last time I saw you or I talked to you? I can't remember. Maybe it was 9 months. Maybe it was 6 months. Who knows? But who cares? I don't care. I want you to come back with a clean slate. Shorty says, oh, well, like it was just like one guy. It was just like, I was like, well, did you love him? She's like, no, I didn't love him. I was like, well, why are you like giving out your body? Like, what's going on? What are you, you're a harlot? I'm not. I was like, whoa, don't say no, you're not. Don't speak too soon. Think about it. Consider it. Maybe you're a slore. Consider it. Maybe you're a tart. Consider it. And she's like, no, it's like I was like, well, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it if you weren't in love and if you're not a slore? It got to be one or the other. You did it. You made love because you're in love, or you slept with him because you're a jump off. You're a slore. Which is it? No, I was just lonely. God damn. You were lonely? But that's a regular emotion that human beings feel. If that's all it takes is you being lonely, now you get your ass up away from me, but you got to get go that way. Go that way, because shit, I go around and I go to work and come back and your ass was lonely. Who knows what happened? I can't even have the gardener over here. You heard me? If that's all it takes is loneliness, I can't even have the milkman. I can't have Amazon deliveries. I can't even have you ordering Uber Eats if loneliness is all it takes. Hell nah. I was like, use a dirtbag. Get up out of here. Shoo. Yeah, you're free. He's a dirtbag. You did? And here's the worst part. For females, like, that's a legitimate answer. I was lonely. Shorty, you giving out monk because you're lonely? Nah, you gotta go. I swear to God. And matter of fact, I wish this was slavery and I could like beat you on your way out. You hear me? I could beat you and then sell you to a different plantation. Swear to God. I wish I could beat you and then sell you to a different plantation. And the reason is this, because as a man, you ask women questions, which you shouldn't do because they ain't got the answers. But you ask them questions expecting them to return to you an answer. They respond, but it's not an answer. You expect them to return to you like some logic, something sensible. And they return to you something that's just like mind-boggling and mind-numbing to where you're like, yeah, what the? Did you say lonely? Okay, now here's the thing. Flip it. Say you're in a relationship with Shorty and then she go off to work and you at the house lonely. You hear me? And you go ahead and smash the nanny. She'd be mad at you, right? And she'd say, why'd you do that? Primarily because she's thick. But more importantly, I was lonely. Shorty would be like big mad. Like that answer is not about to stand. But you're dealing with beings that are extraordinarily irrational, and it's just like you're just trying to find the lowest level of irrationality and the lowest level of pretend, and you want to find a chick who's pretending you can interpret well. So we've gone through the pretender aspect. Now we talked about rationality. Got another story for you. And it's cold out here, man. I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys some time to support the work if you want to carry on. I got a little bit more game for you. Shout out to Mr. Childless. He writes, Shaka Zulu, Shaka Bars, needs to be talking about the assassin, not about Dr. Omar Johnson. I don't even know who Shaka Zulu, who that is. Ricardo writes, thanks for the work, Saint. Absolutely. My pleasure. My pleasure. Darius actually came in as well via Venmo. He writes, sounds a bit similar to some of the small, soft-spoken Somali girls. Oh, yeah. He writes, and listen, man, it's every woman on earth. He writes, they were smoking hookah and messing with a few music producers. Sad. Just like the thicker Somali broads. I had her deliver me some groceries, and then I stopped responding to her messages, bro. You got to do them like that. I'm trying to tell you, man. And listen, man, broads definitely get lonely, and anytime they seem to be okay not getting your attention, they're getting somebody's attention. I promise you that. Yes, indeed, they're working for some man's attention. And they're always connected to another random dude. I'm gonna go ahead and take a pause for the cause. If you guys want me to carry on, I got a couple more notes that I want to go through. I mean, I shouldn't say that I want to go through. I should rather say that I believe will benefit you, because I already know what's in the notes. You dig? May I acknowledge Jeffrey? He writes, "Peace of Saints. Is this the fresh and fit clip you were referring to?" Okay, let's see. Did you email that? I didn't get an email, I just got a PayPal, and you didn't give the link. So I'd be happy to check it out. Shout out to Marcus, who just became a member at patreon.com/the Saint and the Sinner. We welcome you all to this thing of ours. And I've been really enjoying the new member orientations, and we have that at the beginning of each month. And just had another Saint join. He said he's in London. He wanted to link up with the gentleman out there. May I acknowledge Shams? He writes, "Sup, Marquette. Name a benefit that a guy gets in the street that he can't get in corporate America." It depends on what kind of person you are. You know, some people would consider certain things benefits, whereas others wouldn't. Like, I'll give you an example. An average guy would consider having a live-in girlfriend or a wife a benefit because they get live-in vagina, and to them that's beneficial. To me, I would consider that to be a burden. Number one, because I would maybe prefer variety in vagina, not even volume, just maybe variety. And number two, I don't have a super high sex drive, so I don't want to have intercourse every single day. I want to be more productive and have more energy. So you define the benefit based on you as the individual. So let's say corporate versus the streets, as you put it. In the streets, what I appreciate is that it's completely acceptable to sock someone out, and they're not going to snitch on you if they're a part of the same life. They're generally not going to snitch on you if you just walk up and sock them out. That's acceptable. In the streets, people are more honest because they know that the consequences are swift and immediate, and they're real. In corporate, there's a lot more double dealing, and there's a lot more, the hierarchy is a bit in flux in the middle. At the top, it's not in flux, but in the middle, it's constantly moving because people are trying to jockey for position. Whereas in the streets, like, you know who the boss is, and people aren't trying to like take his spot constantly. The hierarchy is fairly fixed. People have strong levels of respect and fear. I don't recommend being in the streets, except that here's the kicker: the government, corporate, and the streets are all the same thing. It's just different levels of development, different levels of strength and power. So the streets is the same thing as corporate, and it's the same thing as government. They're just different mafia organizations and different environments that have certain higher levels of legitimacy or higher levels of power, which is to say violence, but it's literally all the same thing. And if you can't comprehend that, the whole world will confuse you. Like, for example, as I mentioned recently, I had a situation where someone was doing some work for me. I shouldn't say recently, yesterday, someone was doing some work for me and they ended up getting arrested. And I called down to the station and I have a conversation with a lieutenant. I'm just trying to see if we can get this thing resolved without, escalation. And the lieutenant was lying to me, but I said, hey, he kept asking, like, well, do you know what happened? Do you know what happened? And I was like, no, I don't know what happened. You'll have to tell me. I did know what happened, but I don't give information to corrupt government officials. So then he says, well, this, and this happened. So, so-and-so shouldn't have done this. And so, when my officer asked so-and-so for information, so-and-so wouldn't give any information. They wouldn't give their name. They wouldn't give their ID. They wouldn't say what happened. So we had to rely on what the other person said. If so-and-so would have just cooperated, then maybe they wouldn't be in jail right now. That's a lie. Because the truth is, if so-and-so did cooperate, they'd still be in jail. You're just trying to lie and tell me that they should have cooperated and maybe they wouldn't be in jail. No, they'd guaranteed still be in jail. You're just lying so that you can get these people to do what you want them to do. So I continue talking to the lieutenant. I butter him up a little bit. And then the lieutenant eventually says, he was like, like, if so-and-so would have just did this instead of this. I said, no, actually what so-and-so did was the right thing. It was illegal, but it was the right thing. It was ethical. And what is legal is not always a deciding factor of ethics or lack of ethics. So I condone what so-and-so did. You just happen to be beholden to a government that is corrupt, dishonest, and you have a job to do, right? You don't want to lose your job. He says, yeah, you're damn right. I don't want to lose my job for anyone, especially not a stranger. He says, you know what? You're right. I agree. I understand what you're saying. I can see your point, but hey, it's a stranger. So I'm not going to risk my job for a stranger. And that's when Even if it's the right thing, he's not going to risk his job for a stranger, even if it's to do the right thing for the stranger. It's not about right and wrong. It's about I'm getting a paycheck. That's what it's about. And that's why when dumb people say, oh, I couldn't have been in Nazi Germany, I would have rebelled, or I would have helped the Jewish people, you would have done nothing. If you were in Nazi Germany and you were blonde and blue-eyed, you would have said, like, hey, everything's fine. This is all good. I'm not the one getting put into internment camps. I'm not the one going to Auschwitz. No, I'm good. We're good. Everything's good. If they're cutting you a check and your job was to put these people in the oven, you would have put them in the oven. Very few people go against the grain. Very few people are revolutionary. People lie and like to think that they would have done the right thing. Nah, y'all don't do the right thing. Most of y'all don't even have the guts to wear this jacket. How about that? Y'all don't have the guts to wear this jacket thinking you could be a revolutionary. Stop it. You're a nut, a narcissistic nut of all kinds. Shout out to Mr. Ross writes, would you agree that males often have an innate, unrequited love for women? No, I think that they have a confusion of lust. They can't separate lust from their feelings. They have a lack of understanding of self. But I do think women are more transactional than males. You have to have something with regards to the female. He writes, I'm not talking about lust. Well, that's the problem, is that you think you're not talking about lust, but you still are. He writes, I myself am not a weak man of the flesh. Well, yeah, but you're talking about yourself as an individual. So that's the problem. People have trouble seeing beyond their nose. So when I teach people, I don't teach them based on how I am as a student. I don't teach them based on what I know. I teach them based on who they are, or who the average person is, or the average person's comprehension level. So when you start off the sentence and you say, would you agree that males, which would refer to the average male, then you go from that and you write, I'm not talking about lust. Well, if you're talking about the average male, you're definitely talking about lust. That's what drives them. Then you go from males to I myself am not a weak male of the flesh. Well, then why are you talking about yourself? Are we talking about males, or are we talking about yourself? For example, if I was talking about black men and I say that they lack emotional intelligence, I'm able to say that without feeling as though I'm talking about myself. No, I'm talking about black men, which is to say black men on average lack emotional intelligence. I, however, don't. But I don't even feel the need to say I don't. I don't even feel the need. It's not necessary, because I'm talking about black men in general. Gentleman further writes, I'm just a healthy man who understands the artwork of their physiques. Peace of saints. Yeah, no, their bodies can be lovely. You're right about that. You are right about that. What we got right here? Man, I need a blue check for everybody who got a real photo. You heard me? With no airbrush, no filters, no nada. You dig? They be out here so fraudulent. It's a terrible thing. Anyways, okay, yeah, bro sent the clip. Shout out to Jeffrey, man. Jeffrey sent the exact clip I was talking about, and we are going to review it. Yes, indeed. Yeah, check this out, man. And you guys disgust me. When I say you guys, I'm talking about if you're a nerd, you consider yourself red pill, you disgust me. You're an imbecile, you're a nerd, and you disgust me. If you call yourself like, I'm an alpha male, like you're probably not an alpha male. You probably get your shit socked out. You heard me? I'm disgusted with you. If you watch nerd dating coaches and you don't think that they're nerds, you disgust me. If you look at these dating coaches who basically are women, they're Colombian whores. If a grown man is telling you, oh man, you need to look smacks, man, like stay in the gym. Bro, I love the gym just as much as anybody else. And I love the boxing gym. You heard me? I love the boxing gym. Yeah, I sock out all of your favorite YouTubers. I sock all of them out. Easy work. Easy work. But they're like, yeah, you got to get in the gym. But they're still weak-hearted. And speaking of people who stay in the gym and are weak-hearted, check out my expose tonight. We're talking about Ninja Turtle dude who stealing your boy swag. Man, they stealing my slang. They stealing everything. Next thing you know, the whole damn game is going to be bald head. Trying to follow after the bald head lover. You dig? Yeah, man. They want to be the big homie. The one and only. They don't realize it's the one and only. You can't photocopy this, man. Be yourself. It's cheaper. Anyways, these nerds in this comment, the comment section, and it's always going to be like that. There's always going to be a minority of top dogs. It's always going to be a minority of real ones. And then the majority are going to be peons, but they don't know they're peons. Let's look at it, man. This is the bald head lover. It's the handsome hustler. It's the gorgeous gangster. It's your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber. Flex Luthor, Fax Kellerman, Stephen A. Pimp Bayless. Man, the man of many names. You hear me? Let's work. Let's work. Look at this broad, fake and phony as hell. Marquette, how do you know that she's phony as hell? Nigga, because I'm a bitchologist. Yeah, I'm the first and only bitchologist. That's why I know. I done seen her a million times. Damn, they're immortal out here, man. You know how many times I done seen the sunshine and the moon? Come on, man. I done seen too many summers not to know a broad like this. What? What? See, that's why I tell you guys, like, you guys are thinking. I don't need to think. I've seen it before. I just recall memories. I just reach into my black box, pull out a memory. I didn't seen this horror before. Come on, man. What are we talking about here? Got to be kidding me. These simps in these comments. Shout to Udiel, writes tuition, peace to the saints. I also acknowledge Rashadi, writes peace to the saints, tuition for the GAME, Mr. Burton. Continue with the lesson, please. Sir, yes, sir. I also acknowledge Michael, writes, I appreciate the value. See, that's what I'm delivering, value. Shout out to Jeffrey, writes, emailed it. Appreciate your time in the ism. Bro, you got it right. You already knew. Shout out to Mr. Talbot, came in with the baller alert. Yeah, where the ballers at, man? The ballers should have been here, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why the ballers should have been here, you dig? Because I got the custom piece. Who got the custom piece with a logo on it, man? And the work is super clean. Shout out to the SoCal section, you dig? Who got the club collar out here? Y'all didn't even know you could get a dress shirt with a club collar. Come on now, what we talking about, man? Did I do them dirty on the lining? And then we got the custom right here, man, with the collar flipped up like the Fonzarelli on these hoes, man. And y'all ain't even know. I ain't even gonna stand up, but I got the pants to match it, man. What we talking about out here? And then I got the watch with the MDB. What? Come on, man. We all talking ballerism out here. That's all we talking. Now let's go. Let's go. Oh, here we go. We got a fruitcake in the house, right? Love you, but Tate the OG Baldy. No. You know what? I'm glad you said that. Listen here, young ball. And I ain't even gonna block you. Usually I might block you, but I'm feeling generous for some reason. I'm feeling generous. You know, like say I was the Pharaoh and you were in my land. Usually I would have you taken out and have your whole family murdered. Maybe leave your wife and daughters alive so that I could do heinous things to them and make them watch each other suffer it and then execute them. But today I'm feeling generous. So I'm going to let everybody live. And I'm going to tell you why. Check this out. So, and this is important. This is the difference between the big homie and all these rascals out here. And that's why they always would be rascals. And I'm the big homie. Check this out. This is the reason why. And shout out to Tate, man. I'm very proud of Andrew Tate. I really am. He has extraordinary wealth, and I love to see it. But here's the thing. This is why I'm the bald head lover. And ain't no other. I'm the only one. I'm the bald head lover. Coldest bald head brother since Mike Jordan. Dig this. So when you look at my head, it's beautiful bald brown head. You dig? It's a beautiful bald brown head. Now, if you see me and your girl with you, let her rub it. She'll tell you how it feels. Now, dig this. With Tate, if you look at his hair, you'll see that he has like a shadow hairline. That's because he got the few hair surgery implanted, and it just didn't work out for him. That's why he has that strange hairline. Then you look at Tristan, his worked out a little better, but you see Tristan got that deep part, and he clearly got hair surgery, but his is a little better. And sometimes the hair surgery doesn't take very well for certain persons. You know, sometimes it does take well, like Floyd's looks phenomenal, but I'm guessing Andrew and Tristan didn't have Floyd money when they got theirs done back in the day. So the fact of the matter is he's not the bald head lover because he didn't want to be bald. You heard me? He tried to use the science of man to enhance. But the big homie said, look, man, I already got every advantage over everybody. You dig? I have beautiful features. I don't need hair. I'm a man. Why is a man bald? It's a byproduct of testosterone. Yes, that's what it is. That's why women have hair. You know, that's why women have hair. And generally their hair is not thinning unless they're going through menopause or they had COVID or something like that. So I'm the bald head lover, and I never tried to be anything else. That's why I have a 3-sentence Bible, young boy. Sentence number 1, be yourself. Be yourself. If you're bald, don't try to be somebody with hair. Huh? If you're a Ninja Turtle looking nigga, don't try to be smooth like a super player. Huh? Trying to talk like me in a real way. Now you talking in a fake way. Huh? Be yourself. So you can never compare the real to the fake. You can never see the real to the fake. You can never compare that. You can never compare the saint to the sinner. You can never do that. I'm the big homie. There's no amount of money that'll make a nigga above me. Why? Because I'm really that. You heard me? I'm really him. I don't want to be anybody but me. I wake up every day. Damn, I get to be me again. It's a great day. I don't wake up and say, I wish I had hair. Hell nah. I might look at one of you suckers and say, I wish I wasn't y'all. But I'll never say, I wish I had hair. I wish I had this. Hell nah, I'm the big homie, boy. It's different when you're dealing with somebody that has true, genuine confidence versus someone else that's like a woman and they got to go the Colombian whore route, get the mommy makeover, get the liposuction. Yeah, your favorite, like some of you YouTubers y'all look at, getting liposuction. Grown men, word? You got BBMLD with all that fake shit he got. They made his veneers too damn big. Boy got them damn camel teeth. Boy got rabbit teeth. You heard me? Every time if you see BBMLD in real life, just do that. Just do like this. Like, you heard me? That's his new logo. That's his new salute. Yeah, these boys look like weirdos, man. So ask yourself, can you learn to be real from somebody fake? No disrespect to anybody in particular. I'm just addressing the whole damn genre. Can you learn to be real from somebody fake? And let me tell you this as well. When you look at me, you don't look at me and see anybody else. You don't look at me and see anybody else. You look at me and you see the genuine article, one of one. God broke the mold when he was done with me. Everybody else, you see them imitating each other. How many of these nerds do you see smoking cigars? They're clones of one another. Come on, man. How many of these nerds do you see smoking cigars because they think it makes them look cool? I'm too cool to need to look cool. How about that? Come on now. Yeah. So anyways, oh, and let me address one other thing. Don't ever say you love me because you don't love me. And I'm not stupid. And I'm going to address that when I do the roast of Aaron the Plumber, because he's one of these balls that came to be a celebrity. He came to get fame. He came to feel love from you people. I don't give a fuck about none of you. You heard me? If you're not a member, it's assassin or nothing. If you're not a part of this thing of ours, I don't give a fuck about none of you. You hear me? If you're not a part of this thing of ours, I don't care about you. Huh? I don't need your love. And it's fake love any damn ways. You heard me? Because there ain't no way in hell you telling me about another grown man. Now I don't want to hear it, homie. I don't want to hear from you and I don't want to hear from a bitch. You dig? Nah, same thing I tell a hoe. You dig? Yeah, it's one captain on the boat. Full stop. As far as you concerned, you're Helen Keller. You don't see nothing else. You don't see no other boats. You don't see no other men. You dig? It's assassin or nothing. I don't want to hear you coming over here with another man's meat in your mouth. You're going to have trouble talking to me when you got his meat in your mouth. You dig? Yeah, it's like that. And as I say, I'm proud of him, but don't bring all that fake love over here, homeboy. Nah. Bro, then there ain't no hate, though. Nah. It ain't love. It ain't love, man. I know what love is. You dig? I'm fortunate enough that I have a lot of beautiful women that serve me. I know what love is. You can never fool me. You dig? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm just here to teach, man. So all I'm saying is, look, don't compare me to no fake shit. Don't compare me to no fake shit. I got mine out the mud, homeboy, and I got mine all by my lonely. Dolo. You dig? It's different. And I always give respect where respect is due. Tate is very successful and wealthy. I respect that about the brother. I'm proud of the brother for being able to accumulate. I encourage all of you guys to accumulate. You dig? And he had a twin to help him do that. I got mine out the mud, homeboy. I came from the gutter. They could say they from the gutter. It's just not the facts. I came from the bottom. So when you talk to me and you say, hey, Quet, how do I make something out of nothing? Nigga, I could tell you how to make something out of nothing. You heard me? If you're a young boy and you got one parent is British and you going back in between countries, ain't no way in hell you from the gutter. Ain't no way in hell you from the mud. Ain't no way in hell you in poverty, because poor people don't travel beyond the little box that they're born in. Everybody should know that, dummy. You're provincial. You live in a box. You stay in a box. What's that box called? It's called the ghetto. So ain't no way in hell you got parents from different countries and your ass to travel back between different countries as a child. So when you come to me and you say, Quet, how do I make something out of nothing? I'm a motherfucking magician. I can tell you how to do it, boy. Because when I say nothing, I mean nothing. When I say nothing, I mean my father was in prison for selling dope. Huh? When I say nothing, I mean my mother was on dope and we was getting evicted left and right. I had no family. I damn near raised myself. People say they a self-made man. Where's the evidence of it? I say I'm a self-made man. Can't nobody claim what I've done. No one can say I helped him. But you can find a multitude of people in the ghetto that I grew up in. That man put money in my pocket. He put me on. Yeah. He showed me how to break it up and move it out. Yeah. So I'm the only one that's on here that comes from where I came from. No one else is as real as I am. You could throw the rappers in there too. Throw the rappers in there. None of them is this real. I did everything they claim to do in real life. Motherfucker, one day you'll be able to do your research and find it out. Motherfuckers compare me to this fake shit. Did you ever in your life compare me to motherfucking grown men trying to imitate and compete with women? I don't need to be pretty, boy. Don't you ever compare me to something like that. It's offensive. You dig? Yeah. Now, I might like to get dripped up every now and then, man. A player got to stay clean. I got to stay in fabrics, silks preferably. You dig? Cashmere, something like that. But no, I'm not about to go under the knife of a surgeon to look pretty to a bitch. Stop it, man. Who you talking to? Who you talking to, boy? Man, your fathers ain't taught you nothing. It's different. We're not the same. They have fake confidence. I have real confidence. You dig? Yeah. Woo, what are we talking about here? How is he the OG baldy when he don't even want to be bald? Stop it, please. Stop it. Stop it. Get a life. Grow up. See a doctor. See a therapist. Please. We can't be the same. You don't understand the world. You don't know what you're talking about. He's lost. Anyways, shout out to the ballers. Shout out to Mr. Talbot. You dig? While we talking this ish. Shout out to Mr. Talbot. He writes, peace to the saints. I was formerly a part of the Florida Assassin, but left after moving to Indiana with my girlfriend. But I became a Christian and was entirely off social media and the Assassin during that time. Things didn't work out, and I recently moved back to my hometown of Philly, looking to reconnect with Assassin, as you should. And shout out to Philly. I used to stay in Philly, Broad Street. You did. Shout out to Patrick. He writes, was working on my 9 to 5. My boss's wife gave me some money. Very fascinating. She ain't thick, is she? He writes, I told that itch. I like it when she does that. When should I ask her to pay me again? Did you ask her to pay you the first time? I mean, the real key is to just increase it. You dig? It's to increase it. You know what I mean? The beautiful thing is that she could always get it. No matter how much you increase it to, she can always get it. But then the second question is what you going to do with it. You heard me? Yes, sir, Bob. That's a beautiful thing. I love when they pay me. That's what turned me on. See, you nerds and you Nimrods, you like a bad bitch. No, I don't like a bad. I like a productive female. You heard me? I like a good woman or a productive female. Yes, indeed. It's different over here. Shout out to Code Dash. He writes, will this live be uploaded, as I never get notifications for lives, but do for other channels? Exactly. They're trying to suppress this ism out here. DS writes, a quick tip for the chat. Brother, a quick tip for the chat, right? So you'll have niggas turned up out here. He writes, don't compliment someone by comparing them to someone else. Just give them a genuine and well thought out compliment, right? Like you can tell when motherfuckers ain't got no game, right? It's a pity. Shout out to Carl. He writes, shout out to my Nil, unfiltered with everything you talk, regardless of the topic. Keep going. I'm just keeping it real out here. And I fear no man like Conan. You dig? Yeah, if you guys watch my moves, you'll see that I've never been exposed. Not one time. I've never been exposed because I'm just being real. And also, I give respect where respect is due, man. If I admire something about somebody, yeah, I'll be happy to compliment them because I'm actually confident in myself. So I'm happy to compliment other people. Huh? Anyways, let's get to this work real quick. Actually, if you guys want to get to this work, we'll get to this work. If y'all want to get to this work, we shall get to this work. I'll let you guys decide because I know Katz is over here thinking about the bald white head of Andrew Tate. Niggas is over here thinking about the bald white head of Andrew Tate right now. That shit crazy. Y'all niggas got to stop meat slobbing. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a fan of somebody. There's nothing wrong with that. But goddamn, it got to be levels. Like, bro is a super fan. Like, shit, I need some fans like that. But I hope my fans are more intelligent just to be like wilding out. Like a nigga's at a Taylor Swift concert. Nigga at a Taylor Swift concert, like, hey, do you listen to Saint in the Center? What the fuck, bro? Y'all niggas is tripping. It's crazy out here. Oh, man. Okay, look. I'm going to give you guys some time. If you guys want to keep it rocking, we'll keep it rocking. Bro writes, that really pissed Saint off. Nah, it didn't. It just, it mind boggles me that people they don't have the intelligence or the skills of discernment to separate real and fake. You dig what I'm saying? To understand the levels to things. That's number one. And then number two, just the idea that people are so unable to be themselves and be present and understand like where they are and what time it is. It's just like their mind is just constantly racing, or it's been like manipulated or brainwashed by certain ideas or influences. And it's kind of sad to be a smart person living in a land of such darkness. You dig what I'm saying? That's why I don't drive on the freeway. You guys might not know, like I try to avoid the freeway because when I get on the freeway, I realize I'm at the mercy of other people, which means idiots. So I like to drive at low speeds on the streets so I don't have to be on the freeway dealing with people whose minds are just fucking muddied with idiotic thoughts and preoccupations. You hear me? Some dummy on the freeway checking his Apple Watch and using his smart glasses and trying to watch a TikTok, and you're gonna kill all of us. So that's what the world is like for me, is going through just trying to navigate other people's stupidity. And that's why I don't really love the YouTube game, because it exposes me to average people. And frankly, I don't like average people. I don't want to be around them. You hear me? I don't want to be around people who are broke or ugly. You dig? So, that's the challenge. Anyways, if you guys want me to keep it going, we'll keep it going. I actually got some more notes here, and we got, oh, there it is. Boom. And we got this little bitty bit right here, and we're going to break down this game if you choose. Oh, yeah, and I said I wasn't going to show you, but shit, we got time. Here we go. Look at the pants. We out here. you know, I just need people to think before they speak. You ain't lying. It's like telling Jordan. Like, nah, Kobe really got the fadeaway. It's like, nigga, I'm Jordan though. Like, I'm Jordan. Kobe got a nice fader, but I'm Jordan though. Like, nah, I can't hear none of the bull. Let's work. Let us work. Shout out to Aubrey. Appreciate you. That might be like a Drake situation, like dude named Aubrey. Maybe it's a female. I don't know. Let me know. Shout out to the Ballers. Brian writes, peace of the Saints. Carry on, Saint. Shout out to Stop Playing Trey. Shout out to Stop Playing Trey, bro. I see you shining. Bro, I see you shining, man. I'm double tapping all the videos. You heard me? I see you out here. He writes, if your woman is scrolling through social media, do you think it's possible for you to have full influence over her mind? You know, some women are just scrolling for entertainment because they're idle creatures. But I tell you what, I don't like it. I prefer shorty pick up a book. You heard me? Like, yeah, baby, go clean up the house or something. So I prefer not to have that, but it's not always as nefarious as you would think. But I tell you what, it's not a good sign. No, sirree, Bobby. It's never a good sign. Now let's check this out. I'm gonna let you guys listen to this first, and then we're gonna go ahead and dive in and look at the comments. Okay, we're gonna actually peep the comments on this one. And the crazy thing is just like how much guys are simps and don't know it. They're deluded just like the broads. See, that's a weak man thing. You know, weak men have to always come crawling. They show up on their knees. Shout out to Patrick, came in by Venmo. He writes, he writes, when my boss's wife paid me, I didn't ask. She gave it to me because, quote, I'm a hard worker, end quote, or something. I think her old ass just want this. Bro, she might. It be like that. But the question is, you going to chop her down, though? Is it a good kill? Shout out to Mr. Childless. He writes, once I saw that homie was trying to debate you while he was in the bathroom, I knew that it'd be like asking an illiterate man to summarize the Magna Carta. Bro, and that's how the N words be, man. Hard R. Eniola writes, keep it rocking, Marquette. A lot of unconventional knowledge you're saying that the world needs. Oh, indeed, man. Shout out to Jefferson. He writes, I would be grateful for one last elaboration on how you knew the lady wearing red was pretending. Please disregard the fool in the chat because we must suffer them daily. Listen, that's easy work. I thought you was asking me something challenging. No, that's easy. I'm going to let you know right now. Shout out to Harris. He writes, where can I purchase the Book of Dark Truths? It's not listed on marquettism.com like Boston University. I believe the Book of Dark Truths may be right here. Yes, it's right here on school.com. It also may be at Marquette Devon or Marquettism. But you can definitely get it right there, the Book of Dark Truths. Highly recommended. And Giovanni writes, racism is a mental illness. Like, I don't know, bro. Like, that's what you would like to think. Like, people, they don't like something like racism. Like, it's a mental illness. Like, nah, bro, I don't know. That sounds a bit too far. That sounds a bit too far, my boy. I think it's actually relatively natural to favor that which you are and to not favor that which you are not. That seems a bit extreme, my boy. But hey, man, believe what you want to believe. It's a free country. Psych. Anyway, so homie just sent in his Venmo and he said, Quet, tell me, how did you know Shorty in the red was a faker? Well, I know she's a faker. Come here. I know she's a faker because she's on a podcast. Nigga, she's on a podcast. She's on a podcast. That's how I know she's a faker. Now check this out. Now, real talk. Let me kick some game to you, man. Let me tell you what one of my broads said to me. She said, and I mentioned this in a previous live, but since we have a serious Andrew Tate acolyte in here, I'll bring up Tate again because I think it'll turn this guy on. So my broad said, because, you know, Tate's reels still pop up a lot. And she said, why is it that he's always with these girls with like the fake lips and this and that, but he's always talking about what a good woman is, but all the women he's with, they look like I'm not going to use the word she used, but street strollers. And I said, that's actually really insightful, because Tate does say some very intelligent things about the nature of a good woman, but the women that we see him with usually don't reflect that. Now, I tend to think it's partly marketing, but I also think that that's his taste. I think that's what he likes. It's just too many of them that look a certain cookie cutter way. I think it's reflective of his preferences, which there's nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. But you'll notice, conversely, for example, I'm very, very private. You probably couldn't even go back and calculate how many times you saw me on a live session. I'm talking to a shorty. You can barely hear her voice. Sometimes you can't hear it at all. Other times you can barely hear it, but you never see her face. You never hear her name. And there's been a multitude of women like that, always off camera, barely hear their voice, or you don't hear their voice at all, don't know their name. They almost don't exist. They're in the shadow. You hear me? And that's one thing that I teach you guys, is that a good woman is like a shadow. You dig? Do you ever see shadows at night? No, shadows are during the day. They don't go out at night. And a shadow is right there with you. You dig? His shadow is right there behind you. In pocket, we call that. So when you ask me, how did I know that shorty right here is a liar and she's actually a harlot and a tart and an attention seeker? It's because she's on a podcast. Any of the women you've heard in the background of my videos, maybe except one particular female, and that was the one I kicked out on live session. Like, I was talking about Lori Harvey or something like that. And I was like, oh, I don't date chicks who have dated people in the entertainment industry or the music industry. And then she said, oh, I've dated someone in the music industry. I was like, get out. Straight up. Off rip. Get out. Leave. Aside from her, all the other chicks you've heard in my background, they're in the background because they want to be in the background. If I asked them to come on camera, they wouldn't come on camera. If I asked them to join a podcast, they wouldn't join a podcast. That's their personality. They don't believe it's right. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to be chastised in the public. They don't want to look stupid in the public. They don't want to make a mockery of their family name. They don't want to be the center of attention. They're not that kind of woman. She's pretending to be a low-key, chaste, moral woman. A low-key, chaste, moral woman wouldn't be caught dead on a podcast. And of all podcasts that you could go on, she damn sure would not be caught dead on a podcast that is known for regularly embarrassing women, kicking them out, and getting them spitting mad. That's how I knew she's a lying dirtbag. There's no other evidence needed. You're on the Fresh and Fit podcast. You're a lying dirtbag. You're not a good woman. And there's no disrespect to Fresh and Fit. Shout out to my brothers. Absolutely love those guys. This is no disrespect to them. It's just saying the podcast girl personality. What is the job of most of those girls? Sugar baby, which means no job, which means gold digger. OF girl. It's not coincidental. That's what it attracts, right? So that's how we knew. That's what bro asked me, how do I know? That's how we knew. It was obvious. Shout out to the Saint, just got the Book of Dark Truths. Highly recommended. You hear me? It's highly recommended that you all actually understand the real world that you're living in. Let's go ahead and get to this work right here. I don't know if the chat has paused because, YouTube does weird things. You guys just might be in awe right now. Like, damn, Quet, I didn't think of it like that. Jiminy Snickets, he's brilliant. That man has extraordinarily high IQ. Okay, very good. It says, I always thought the girl in the red dress is a poser and fake. Too many males are naive. They so naive, man. It's laughable. That's why they can't deal with broads effectively. Hold on, let me put this audio in my headphones so I can really hear this fake broad tell lies. Tell me lies, tell me cute little lies. I want to hear her lies in HD in my headphones. Okay, little bitty bear, start lying.
Hi, my name is Jillian.
They start with that off rip, like doing it. And I personally had a chick in the stable. She does this whole like, oh, I'm talking all soft. I'm trying to make it seem like I'm gentle, and you can't even hear what I'm saying half the time. But it's like, that's not who she really is. And a lot of these chicks, at some point, they're going to flip on you. They're going to do something ratchet. They're going to say something ratchet. And then you're going to see who they really are, or you're going to get them mad and they're going to wild out, start cursing. And then they're going to try to go back to their pretend persona. and they're going to be like, oh yeah, and then you're looking at them like, shorty, the jig is up. The jig is up. I already know. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing. It's like they think that they can go back. See, the thing with me, I have a dynamic personality. So even one of my chicks, Eastern European chick, she had video called me one day, and I answered a video call with the homie in the hood. She answered the video call. Nigga got a ball cap on, 3 chains, and shorty's like, I feel like there's 2 of you. I'm like, yeah, bitch, the same in the center, bitch. Yeah, your ass ain't paying attention. Yeah, I'm the center right now. Holla at me later, bitch. So I have a dynamic personality that's as clear as day, but it's all real. It's both real, and I don't. I don't pretend to not be something. Like I always tell people, like, I'm with the shits. I will slap your helmet off. That's my real life. These broads, they'll try to spend their time mostly in that, I'm just a sweet little woman, little house on the prairie. And then they go crazy and start yelling and cursing and then try to go back to Little House on the Prairie. Like no. The jig is up. You're busted. It's just sick out here, man. It's sick.
I'm 20 years old. I'm from Canada.
Already. So, number one, you're from Canada, but you're in Miami. That's a long way from home. Miami? Yeah, probably not a good look.
The highest level of education completed was high school.
Now, that is an interesting thing because that can go left or that can go right. That can be a very good thing because she's not convinced she's a genius. A lot of chicks, they get all this education. They're convinced that they're neuroscientists. Or that might mean that she lacks certain professional skills and competence, and she's not going to be of much use to you. And both of those things can be dangerous. It's a trade-off. Anyways, back to the lies.
I decided not to go to college.
Listen, these things, I always just like kind of write it off and just like, yeah, we'll see. I'll get to know you and find out what the truth is because here's the facts. That's like me saying, I decided not to go to the NBA. It's like, yeah, either you decided not to go to the NBA or your ass was not invited. You couldn't get in. You weren't meeting basic requirements. So you could say you decided not to. Now, like, for example, I decided not to become a professional boxer. I actually do have a professional boxing contract. And it's well known that I whoop ass. You dig? It's well known. Carrying on.
And I said I'm single, right?
Now, that's when you really knew, major red flag. She's like, and I said I'm single, right? I said I'm single. Yeah, because, of course I'm single. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Like, I'm young, 20 years old. I'm good looking. I have nice hair and I dress well. So of course I'm single. That makes perfect sense. Like being single in the streets, not having a man, that makes perfect sense for a woman that kind of has like a lot of the things most guys are looking for. So of course I'm single. That should make perfect sense to you. Yeah. Like, are you guys idiots? I guess the answer is yes. Yes, you are idiots. These guys in the chat. I'm going to look at 13,000 comments of guys being losers.
Another
yeah. Just say it, all right. Just one more time. And then what do you do for work?
I'm a writer.
Okay.
Right. Which means you don't have a job. You're unemployed. I'm a writer. So what that translates to, like, if I'm not black, like if I was a black girl, that would mean that I'm like really in poverty. But since I'm not black, when I say I'm a writer, what that means is I come from a bourgeois family where I don't have to do anything productive because my father and my family pays for my whole lifestyle. So I'm a writer, which means unemployed. I'm living off my parents. If I was a black girl, I wouldn't have parents to live off of because they're also broke. So I'm a writer.
Yeah, this is
serious
writer. So doesn't want to tell us what she writes.
Yeah. It's not for Vice though, right?
No,
Okay.
no, I saw that in the comments.
Yeah, fuck
No.
Vice. Okay. What about you?
Hi, my name is
Red flag.
What about you?
Okay. Dang, I thought they were going to show the hair-hatted hooligan. Okay, that was a different clip.
Hi, my name is
Yeah, so after that, they show a hair-hatted hooligan immediately. So apparently this clip is going around a couple different places. I want to look at some of the comments with you guys so I can show you the nature of the average male, which is disgusting, weak, uninformed. That's why things like the Book of Dark Truths I created, the Book of Dark Truths. You see, you got guys like, what's the sickly looking white guy? Looks like he's dying. Robert Greene. You got guys like Robert Greene who create like the 48 laws of power. And then you look at Robert Greene, you're like, bro, niggas was taking your lunch money for sure. You don't need to write the 48 laws of power, bro. You're a peon. I don't want to learn from the observer. I want to learn from the doer. You heard me? Like, I don't want to read a book about murder from like some random white woman that lives in Mayberry. I want to read a book about murder from like Ted Bundy. I want to read a book about murder from Sammy the Bull Gravano. Like somebody has really caught bodies. You hear me? That's just me though. I want to get it from the practitioner. So it's like, bro, get out of here with this lame ass knockoff book of Machiavelli. Bro done stole every idea he's ever presented. You did? Come on now. He said, yeah, he really looks sick. Bro, like, bro, I've been waiting for that man to die. He just keeps surviving. It's extraordinary. Like, I don't know what's going. Let me not. Yeah, Allah forgive me. Jesus, forgive everybody, forgive me. I'm wilding out here. I'm wilding. What's new? What else is new? Anyways, may I acknowledge Dragos writes, if she has quite a lot of female friends who seem to be relatively promiscuous, feminists, oof, is it possible she's a good woman if she seems different? Bro, knock it off. That's all I gotta say. Knock it off, okay? Fucking knock it off, please. Shout out to Tommy. Y'all gotta quit doing this to me, man. Why do you do this to me? Why do you guys show up like quit? If the girl has a wig and her nails are this long and she has a piercing right here, she got a nose piercing and she got a tattoo right on her titty right here, and she got stretch marks longer than some midgets, is she ghetto? Nigga, bro, quit asking me stuff like that. Please, please, please. Stop that, please. Anyways, bro said, my Nil said, hey, Quet, like, what if her friends are strippers? Could she be a good person if she's not a stripper? Like, bro, come on, man. Tommy writes, peace of the saints, you're truly doing God's work, Marquette. It's always a pleasure to hear you speak, sir. Thank you. That means a lot. And I appreciate you always being here with me to fellowship. Shout out to the ballers. Drip Lord writes, peace. Drip Lord is a baller, okay? Because I think he triple balled or quadruple balled yesterday. I just want to acknowledge that for everybody. Like, bro, balling is different. He writes, supporting this work, my mind is sharpened and my ears are open. Mr. Burton, you are the man. That suit game is too far. Man, I'm trying to tell you, they got to put these in a museum when your boy go out. He writes, also, forgive me for sending this so late. Super chat was bugging. It'd be like that sometimes, man. Listen, I had, as I said, one of my people caught a case yesterday. I was trying to catch a flight down to take care of things in person, and I kept trying to book the flight, and it kept giving me an error link. So, you know, sometimes technology fails. It get like that. Anyways, carrying on. And shout out to the folks supporting the work. We appreciate you. The Apex Fallacy writes, you state persistence overcomes resistance. Please distinguish between persistence and chasing / simping. Well, first off, chasing and simping are not the same thing. You put a chasing / simping. It's not the same thing. Chasing is a fairly proactive, can be an aggressive thing, right? Like if I have a knife and I'm chasing you, I'm the aggressor. You hear me? You're the victim. You're running. So chasing is not simping. Simping is the way in which you do something. You hear me? It's the way in which you engage the world. It's the self-view that you have. It's the way that you come off. It's the way you pedestalize the broad. There's nothing wrong with chasing something that you want, whether it's a bag, it's a woman, it's an opportunity. Nothing wrong with chasing. And yes, persistence overcomes resistance. You have to know how to apply that. It's not always worth it. He writes, I'm interested in a girl, but our conversations are often brief and dull. Wondering how to proceed. Well, then let me tell you this. If your conversations are often brief and dull, this girl is only good for the pounding. She's only good for a pound because she's dim-witted. She has no content to her personality. So why would you want her to be your main girl? It's lust. So just smash her, and you don't have to dash her. Smash her and keep on smashing her. You heard me? But keep her marginalized because those conversations are not going to get better. She's brain dead, and it get like that. It's all right. So what I would recommend to you is a Hail Mary. If you don't know what a Hail Mary is, yo ass need to keep watching this ism. You dig? But it's Hail Mary time because those conversations being brief and dull. Let me tell you this. She's not a conversationalist, my friend. Yeah, there you go. Don't have intellectual conversations with someone who's not an intellectual. Don't have conversations with someone who doesn't know how to converse. Get her in motion. Take her to do activities. These broads is brain dead out here, man. You got to go take them mini golfing so they don't have to think so hard. You got to do activities. You hear me? Or just invite her over to get body. You hear me? Yeah, man. Put her leg up like this and do your thing, man. Anyways, carrying on. Carrying on. And shout out to all the ladies who are here with us. Shout out to the lady saints. Patrick comes in by Venmo. He writes, forgot my question. When should I ask my boss's wife for money? The first time she said she paid a P, I didn't ask. She said she felt I deserved it. Well, what I would do if I were you, I think it's always better to not ask. And so I give it a little bit of time, see if she wants to lay it on you again. And then if she doesn't, then I would ask, but I would make a big ask. You hear me? I would, really step it up from what she offered the first time. Let's see. Started talking about dreams, literally and figuratively. Dreams are random and can give you banter to work with. Future goals help establish if this is someone you want to be with long term. Sweet auntie. Okay, sweet auntie. All right, now let's look at these comments from these super simps. This stuff is amazing. Natural femininity is without question the most attractive quality a woman has to offer. Natural femininity. Now, of course, it's always from somebody with a fake name and a fake photo, right? But here's the thing. Number one, when you say femininity, let's be more specific. I hate to hear guys talking like females. You see, females tend to be imprecise. They tend to be, a little more airy and, spiritual, and like things are not clear, discreet, numbers oriented, rational, clear definitions. Women are more yes and no. Well, it's gray. Men are black and white. It's 1, 2, 3, ABC. Okay. So a lot of guys are effeminate and they don't even know it. It's actually sad. And they only find out that they're effeminate when someone like me comes around and I'm like, F all of you. I'm bald head. I don't want hair plugs. And they're like, oh, that's what a real man is. A real man doesn't need to get up and like try to make his hair look pretty. And if he doesn't have hair, he's like, it's fine. I don't need it. Oh, okay. That's what a real man is. I fought 10 people back to back in Vietnam on the drip trip and had a cracked rib and then just went to sleep. I ain't even ice it. You hear me? Like, stop being sweet. Y'all are sweet. You hear me? Stop it. So bro's like, natural femininity is without question the most attractive quality of a woman. Bro, shut up. You don't even know what you mean when you say femininity. You don't even know what you mean. Then look at bro. A female speaking softly has to be one of the most soothing things. What are you, a baby? You need to be soothed? You're a goddamn infant? Bro, shut up. She is calm, collected, feminine, and only speaks with common sense and knowledge. A true girl. Bro, and then this nigga got a damn flower picture. I'm done. Bro writes, she's in the wrong place. Uh-oh, here we go. This is male delusion. We found it. We found a winner. They're going against their fucking evidence being presented to their eyes and ears. Pay attention. Pay attention. This is the guys that I would split them in half with a sword. These are the ones I hate the most. They literally, their brain, the saint in the center is in their brain. Marquette Devon Burton is in the back of their brain. Like, hey, bro, Shorty is a slore. You hear me? She's a super slore. That's Tatiana Jolie. Bro, she is a street stroller. She's not a good person. I'm in the back of their head yelling, pleading. And then they're just denying all evidence. Listen to this one. This is crazy. Check this out. It's extraordinary. Bro says, she's in the wrong place. No, stupid. No, stupid. She's in the right place. She's just in disguise, dummy. She's a slore in a slore's environment. She's in the right place. She's in her habitat. She's an animal in her habitat. You just can't perceive it because you're a dweeb. And women are designed to fleece money out of dweebs like you. So what happens is you go up to her off some Pepe Le Pew stuff, right? You got to take her on a date and pay for her stuff and get played out like a dummy. And then I'll pull up on Shorty, say some wild stuff. You heard me? And she'll be like, ooh, that's kind of exciting. I'm like, yeah. And I go ahead and pound her, break her back. You heard me? And then break her pockets. And then she'd be obsessed with me. And I kick her to the curb. Then you go pick her up out of the gutter. And then you try to love her. And all she can think of is Marquette Devon Burton. And you will never measure up. And then what happens? Now you in my comments hating on the nigga during the live chat. Big mad at me for being a super player. Now, don't get mad at me, little buddy. Get mad at yourself. Get mad at your daddy. Get mad at the fact that you ain't soak up this damn ism. Come on now. That's what it is. Bro, talking about she's in the wrong place. Motherfucker, she's in the right place. And that environment is telling you what she is, dummy. You don't see certain things in certain environments. Like, for example, you will never in your life see me in a nightclub getting slizzard with a bunch of floozies around, like in the club, like yelling. No, that's not my environment. I don't exist in there. You heard me? I'm bullshit. You might see me. You heard me? If there's some tall, fine in there, if there's some super thick ones in there, you might see me in there once a year, but probably in a foreign country, though. Probably in a foreign country. You might see me in there once a year. I ain't gonna lie to you. But do you get the point? My women, for example, you never see them in there. You would never. It doesn't make sense. You never see me in a coffee shop. I don't drink coffee. You never see my woman in a strip club. You hear me? Like, there's just certain things that don't match. Come on now. People, places, positions. Thank you. People, places, positions. Look at the place she's put herself in. Huh? Come on now. Bro is denying his own goddamn common sense. She's in the wrong place. And then there's 2,000 idiots that agree. She's in the wrong place. These are not the people you should even know about, let alone associate with. Now, here's the funny thing. You're a fan, my nil. You're a fan of Fresh and Fit. So why are you trying to downplay and talk crazy about the show? You're a fan, my boy. But here's the more insane piece. This is the kind of cat that'll come at me and say, hey, Quet, do you think a girl is a good girl if she goes on podcasts? And I'm over here like, nigga, you know she's not a good girl if she's on podcasts. You already know that. Especially certain kind of podcasts. You already know that. This is the kind of guy that show up like, hey, Quet, like, say the girl's a good girl, but all of her friends have an OF. Do you think that she's a good girl? Bro, you know the answer to this. You just want me to yell at you. That's what you want. You want me to holler at you because you just need the truth to be meaner and more like bright. That's what you need. But you know the answer. You know the answer. I get it. Y'all know the answer. Damn, I gotta take off my jacket. Y'all got me turned up out here. Bro says, they're not people you should even know, let alone associate with. You know, well, birds of a feather flock together, dummy. So they're actually the same. Let's see if anybody objected to this idiotic comment. Let's see if anyone objected or if they just co-signed the idiocy. Bro writes, no, the women. These are high-value men. The women on this show, on the other hand, are a bad influence. Okay, what else we got? I like those men in the comments wanting to corrupt her. She needs a better... Okay, stop it. Corrupt her... Okay. These are high value men. Okay. We got a little broad hating. Okay. It's not much of a debate, more just like telling the truth is okay. High value. Okay. Y'all are trying to corrupt her mind already. High value be at. Okay. Who says they must be called out for promiscuity when it's destroying society? Yeah. These men are acting that. Okay. Myron is no high value man. Okay. People really be using their time to debate nonsense. She's a breath of fresh air. After seeing this, there's still hope. Nigga, there's no hope. There's no hope for you. There's a lot of hope for me. Like, I got 5 or 6 good ones, great ones, 5 or 6 of them. There's no hope for you, though. You're going to die alone after getting divorced and her taking your money and your kids. There is no hope. It's all bad. So the funny thing is that there was not one person in the comments that said, hey, how could she possibly not be a hoe if she's shown up to a place where there's only hoes? Why would a non-hoe go to a hoe's job and put on, it just doesn't make sense. Why is it that out of 100 chicks on the show, most of them are sugar babies, OF girls, street strollers, you know, and then all of a sudden she's a writer. Please stop it. And she won't tell you who she writes for or what publication you can find her work in. Please stop it. Please stop it. Look at this kind of stuff. Bro writes, Marquette spells my name wrong just to prove that he's an idiot. Okay. He writes, who do you think would win a fight against? I'm sorry. I don't want to be disrespectful. That was not necessary, Marquette. I'm sorry. My apologies. He writes, who do you think will win a fight against Myron or Fresh against Preach? Like, bro, why do you care, man? Like, oh God. Jesus. Man, I really come on here thinking that I'm doing something meaningful. And then people are like, who do you think will win in a fight? I'm like, God damn, what is this, third grade? It's third grade.